Live from Twitch.tv, it's Vtuber Talk. This week our guest is Grape. It's all about to begin on Vtuber Talk. Hello and welcome to Vtuber Talk. I had my mic muted. I'm your host Jay, and thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you who haven't been here before, Vtuber Talk is designed after classic late-night talk shows. Everything here is live, as you can already tell by my scuff, casual, and the goal is simply to have fun conversations that'll entertain people who are already familiar with the guest while still being accessible for new fans. That is my overly long way of saying I hope anyone can tune in and have a good time. As always, all cheers and donations are split 50-50 with the guest. It's actually been a couple weeks since I've done a broadcast on my channel. For those of you who don't follow me, the past two shows I've done have actually been on site with my guests, so I've done the show actually from their channel. If you're interested in watching any of my past broadcasts, you can see all of them on my YouTube channel. The people that I collabed with that we did the broadcast on their channel have been able to provide me with the VODs, so I've uploaded all of those, so if you want to see any of those, they're all in one place for you. So, one interesting thing that I've realized over the past couple weeks, whenever I pop into a new stream for the first time, I occasionally now am getting asked, "Oh, Vtuber Talk, so are you one of those connoisseur accounts?" And it's made me realize that despite the fact that I actually made my accounts a month or so before the first, connoisseur accounts, I think Sneezes may have been the first connoisseur account, at least the first one I was aware of. And while I may have been earlier to the game, the advent of VTuber connoisseur accounts has certainly moved in on my branding space, and obviously I'm not going to take credit and say, oh, I'm the only person who can have VTuber at the front of their handle, but it's been a bit of an unexpected just sort of advent of the growth of that type of account to end up just being confused. And there's nothing wrong with these types of connoisseur accounts. I enjoy quite a few of them, but I do end up having to explain, no, I am not one who just, I don't even know what a VTuber talking connoisseur account would do, because VTubers talk, that's what they do. But I've had to introduce myself and sort of explain, okay, I do a talk show, that's what my thing is, I'm not affiliated with these connoisseur accounts. But yeah, silly stuff, crazy times, but regardless, it's always cool to see just how fast and broad the VTuber community is getting. I certainly welcome all those connoisseur accounts, even if there is the occasional bit of confusion. But that is enough of me rambling. Let's get on to the guest, let's get on to the show. My guest today is a wonderfully competitive and eager and excited dragon VTuber. Please welcome Grape.
Is it working?
I think it's working. Chat, please let us know if it's working. Hopefully the...
Mic test.
Hopefully the sound is good. Hopefully the audio levels are set. I have Grape's background music going right now. I hope the levels are all right. If it isn't, please let me know in the chat. But yes, Grape, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I suppose, for starters, if you could just introduce yourself for anyone who might not be familiar with you.
Okay. Anyways, hello. My name is Grape. I'm an adventuring dragon at your service. I do all sorts of stuff, from things like Dota 2, Apex, drawing, live 2D rigging. I did bring myself to life through live 2D rigging, which is really cool. And I also like to do Pokemon card pack openings, and pretty much anything that catches my eye. I'll stream pretty much about anything that's fun. So yeah, I guess that's a quick intro.
Yeah. Actually, you were streaming just last night, and you were doing several of those things that you did art for the first little bit. And you didn't actually do any Pokemon openings, though we do have some of that planned for later in the stream, so do stay tuned for that. But last night you ended up doing Soul Calibur for a while. You used the character creator and made, honestly, an uncanny representation of yourself.
That was super fun. So I have a lot of friends who are really, really into like high-level competitive Soul Calibur. So I actually know a lot about the Soul Calibur community.
Yeah, you were
and I
using
really
some really
appreciate
good
them a lot.
jargon there. Of just even though
Yeah.
I'm not into Soul Calibur in particular, I have enough friends who are into just competitive fighting games that I understood the jargon of, oh, what's an iframe and things of that nature.
Yeah, oh, what's an I-10, what's an I-12 kind of thing. Yeah, it's like I have a lot of random things where they'll complain about, oh, this character has an I-10 and it's stupid, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, I know this character has an I-10, and that's things you wouldn't really learn at my level, but it's just really surprising.
It's
to
stuff you
some
pick up
people that
along
I'm
the
just
way.
Like, oh, this character has this move that's I-12, and they're like, you shouldn't know this at this point in your gameplay.
But yeah. And before that, you were working on some art. We do have several pieces that you have done that we will be showing off to the chat in a little bit. But I suppose that in general, you have a very broad background, not just with games, but with art. What was your start when it came to art?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's see. I think it was, so back in Dragon School, in like Dragon grade school, I had this little phone app called Drawcast, right? And I would draw on my phone. I think the first drawing I ever did on my phone, because I used to draw before that, like I would have all those like those Pokemon how to draw books and those anime and Disney Princess how to draw books, right? But the main thing that I really started drawing with was just this little phone app, and it had 2 layers and a background layer, right? And I think my first drawing was like Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. And
Classics.
I mean, looking back at it, it's like terrible, but that was really when I started
Everyone starts
drawing
somewhere. Everyone starts terrible. I'm still terrible.
It's just a lot of, you just gotta put a lot of time into it, that's all.
For
That's
sure,
all.
yeah. It's like any
But-
skill. It's like really just anything that you work towards. Oh, Corkin
Yeah.
TV, thank you for the follow. So,
Yeah, what's up, Corky?
and then more recently, from what I understand, your 2D animation knowledge is also self-taught.
Yep, pretty much everything I do, I'd say, is self-taught to an extent. I mean, there's always tutorials that I'll look at and like try to gather as much information as I can before starting, but honestly, yeah, pretty much everything I do, I would say, is self-taught, just because it's either you pay someone, you know, a good chunk of money to do live 2D rigging, or you can learn it yourself and then you can update your model at any point that you'd like. And that seemed a lot more fun to me. Plus, I'm kind of a perfectionist sometimes, so it's like I know I would only be happy if it's like I see mistakes that are made by me and I feel okay about it, because it's like, well, I can at least go fix that. But
Yeah, it's, you can
if I
fix it,
had
you
paid
don't need to
someone
wait
a
in a
lot-
queue, and plus it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I made that mistake. It's not, oh gosh, now I need to go and hassle the artist to fix the thing, that you're able to have that type of agency over it.
Exactly, and it's also I don't want to bother anybody that's like, hey, you know, can you fix this? Can you fix this? Can you fix this? Because I would. That's the thing, is I would. It's like, if I'm paying for a product, then I totally would do that. But, yeah. I like the self.
Lena Lena D. Hobb, I hope. Thank you for the follow. But yeah, so that's actually, I think, where I first saw your streams. I don't actually recall off the top of my head how I first discovered you. It was probably from a raid somewhere, and I can't remember for the life of me who it was that raided me into you, but right away, just your energy really stuck out to me. And you're very interactive when it comes to chat, and you've just got a high level of energy overall, and it really comes through in just the way that you talk to people, the way that you interact, and all the things that you do, and it's super enjoyable.
Oh, I'm glad. It's 100% genuine hype. Like, I kid you not, I don't do anything, I don't take anything, except for I drink G Fuel sometimes. I haven't done that today yet.
Hashtag
but,
not
like,
sponsored, hashtag
Yeah.
G Fuel, please sponsor Grape.
Please, thank you. But really, I'm just hype. I'm just a very hype individual, and I think I'm happy that it shows through, because a while I was worried that, you know, it wouldn't show through as genuine, because it's like, I really am just excited about so many things, and I am just so happy to be doing fun stuff. And I was worried people are, oh, this dragon's fake in it, right? I'm not. So it makes me really happy that people see it as genuine, because I was worried about that. I'm like, please believe it, I'm actually that excited, I swear.
Sicko Simithar, thank you for the follow. Yeah, your energy has definitely always come across as very genuine. That fortunately, it seems that for the most part, energy amongst VTubers is, I don't want to say a universal thing, but a very widespread thing, and more often than not, it's genuine. Of course, it takes a lot of energy to stream and to interact with chat and to just, be on. It's the type of thing that even just doing my little talk show here where I don't have a model or anything, I've done enough live performances and live event work over the years to know that you need to have that energy from somewhere, otherwise you're not even going to be able to just do the stuff. And even then, when you have all this energy, there's usually still the post-show crash, at least to some extent.
It really depends on the day and how many other things I've done during the day, because to be honest, streaming doesn't feel like that much of a drain, unless I was already exhausted before I started, and then the thing is I get so excited to stream that I just get super, super hype, and then all of a sudden I finish streaming and it's like,
yeah,
right,
well, no, because it's not that it's a drain, it's more of coming down from the high of just, you are enjoying, at least for me, I find it that just I enjoy streaming or just talking and doing stuff so much that then when it's done, it's like my body is kind of like, oh, well, I'm bored now, so I guess time to bring down energy. But
I wouldn't say it's more of a bored thing. It's more of a like, one thing off my mental list, time to play another game or something. Like, you're go to bed or eat something. It's usually eat something. The thing that usually stops me from streaming is how hungry I am. So that's the. It's more like the one need overcomes the other. It's like the need to stream has been suppressed by, wow, I'm starving. Forgot to eat today.
Oh, yeah, no, I've definitely been there before of just sort of that momentary realization of, oh, I haven't eaten in 9 hours. Oops.
Yep, that happens.
Yeah. But I suppose that leads us into a number of different things. I guess for starters of just what games have you been playing lately? Obviously there was Soul Calibur last night, but is there anything else that you've been just really sinking your teeth into lately?
I'm gonna say sorry, Brune, you're calling me out.
Oh dear.
I'm playing Dota. That's true. I'll grab my snack and I'll be like, I'm tired now, and then I'll play Dota for like another 3 hours or something like that. But I think the most of what I've been playing recently is a lot of Dota. I've been playing a lot of Faster Than Light. I don't know if you were there.
I am not familiar with that one. No, okay. I did see the Dota stream recently though.
Yeah. So do you know what Dota is? Do you need me to give you a brief?
So I know what Dota is.
Okay.
I followed MOBAs as a casual observer. I don't know any of the mechanics. I don't know any of the champion names. I very much watch it similar to a casual American football fan, where I can tell when, I know what a first down is. I know what getting a tower is. I know what an ace is. I can tell the general flow of battle. I can see when one team is moving down the field. I can't tell you what a linebacker is. I can't tell you what a halfback or a fullback is, and I can't tell you any of the equipment or move names in Dota, but I can watch and generally understand the flow of battle.
Okay, that's good. That's honestly, that's the hardest starting point, is just being like, what is going on? So that's the hardest part, I feel like. And then you can learn all like 80 something characters and all like 5 to 6 moves per character, plus all 100 items in the game. That comes later. But let's see, I'll talk about FTL then. So FTL is short for Faster Than Light. And essentially what that game is it's a really cool pixel art game by Subset Game Studios, which came out in 2012. And what it does is you are a ship in the Federation fleet, and you have information on how to destroy the Rebel flagship. So think of it as like a reverse Star Wars, right? And essentially, you have to go through 9 different sectors of your choice, and it gives you like a little map, so you can choose like an enemy territory, a neutral territory, or like a nebula territory, which can have like ion storms and stuff like that. Each territory presents different challenges, but also there's a bunch of different species and races, and there's every jump that you make with the ship is basically you're jumping through a map. Each sector is a small preset map, right? And it changes every run you do. So you can do runs and runs and runs of FTL, and it never gets boring because you can always change up, like, okay, this time I want to build like a boarding ship. Okay, this time I want to build a like a technology drone ship that does hacking, right? And you can change whatever you want to do about that game. So I think it's really fun, but you can also name your crew members in your ship. So I really like that because I can put myself on the ship and I can put Nugget on the ship, which is my little chicken. And it's really fun. But basically, while you're going through all those sectors, you have to collect weapons, you have to collect money, you have to upgrade your systems, and eventually at the end you fight the rebel flagship, and that thing is a beast. It's a 3-stage fight that's really, really hard, and I have never beaten it on stream, but I've beaten it a couple times off stream. But the problem is I always played it on my friend's computer, so I don't have any of like the save data and extra ships unlocked that I would have had from their ship through their PC. So but yeah, it's a really fun game. If you don't have it, I totally recommend it. Soundtrack is super killer. It's a roguelike. Yeah, I guess that's a good way to describe it, but it's like, it's so fun. The soundtrack's really good. It makes you feel like you're alone in space, but someone's watching you, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Yeah, if you've never tried, I think it's only $10 or something.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. The visuals are very simplistic. You know, there's the grid, there's the ship, it's all 2D, but the way that you're describing the game makes it sound really interesting, and I'm going to have to either make sure I catch your next stream of it or maybe pull up the VOD of the most recent one, because it definitely seems interesting, and I always appreciate when you have a game that is different in its iterations, where there's some element of just, you know, generation or randomness to it to keep things fresh.
Yeah, because I don't like replaying games. To be honest, I don't think it's that enjoyable.
I've never been able to replay games. I can't even like reread books very often. Of just like on rare occasion, if it's a comfort thing and I really want to go back and revisit something, but even then, it's a very rare thing for me that there's just so much cool stuff out there, and I feel like I want to see stuff I haven't seen before.
Yeah. I agree. That's why FTL is so nice, though, because there's so many events, and if you turned on the Advanced Edition, which is free, they literally made an entire Advanced Edition free DLC that they just, like, hey, thanks for appreciating our game, you know, here's, like, a whole giant upgrade to the game and systems and new ships and new events and stuff like that. And there's tons of, like, mods for FTL as well, because it is just sprite-based pixel art, right? So it's super easy to mod. So if you're a huge Star Wars fan, you can use the Millennium Falcon as your ship, right? You can mod your crew to look like Wookiees or anything that you want them to look like. So there's lots of mods. I've never really modded it, but I have looked into it because I do want to mod myself into FTL and just have like my little character model running around and fighting.
Oh my goodness!
And, you know,
just you know,
the space locker.
VTuber crew, VTuber faster than life mod pack. Let's go.
Yes, that would be very fun. I would have Nugget too. He would be very muscular and big, like one of those like a bodybuilder almost. That would be really funny. I'd like that.
Yeah. So I guess actually jumping back to Dota for a second, because even if I'm not super familiar with it, I still always love hearing my guests, you know, just get into stuff that they're into, and I have at least that baseline knowledge. So I suppose, for starters, do you find that you have a preferred role, or I guess a main champion or two?
Yeah, so I play a couple of different characters, but my main role, if I'm doing Dota Talk, it's pause 4 or 5, but if I'm just trying to explain it in normal terms, which basically everyone else is going to understand because Dota terms are kind of silly, it would be like a support or a hard support. And the only difference between support and hard support needs less money, because if they just level up, their abilities are good enough on their own to help the team win fights. Just regular support can need a little bit more money to get some items to kind of supplement the abilities that they have to be effective in like team fights as a support.
Gotcha, yeah.
So they really, unless you get to the pro level, those positions are really not played that differently. I mean, they're pretty much identical. It really depends on, you know, if you're playing with randos, it really doesn't matter. But if you're playing on like a team and tournament setting, then those roles do take on slightly more defined definitions. However, Dota is really cool in the fact that characters are not locked into a single role when you play Dota. So I know that League of Legends, a lot of characters are, if you pick this character, you are a jungler, which means you sit in the jungle and you fight. Right?
Yeah, that
it's like you farm.
Yeah. League of Legends was the one that I got the most into. Still never played it much. I played maybe a dozen games, but I kept up with the LCS for a couple seasons in like season 4, 5, 6. So gosh, it's weird to think that that's now sort of back in the day, quote unquote, because that was like 2014, 15, 16. So I'm familiar with the junglers and, you know, top, middle, bottom laners and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dota character, your character can usually be built a couple different ways. So a character that could be, you know, a main carry for a team can also be built as a support. It's really interesting because it's like, if all of a sudden the tides change and it's, let's say I'm playing support, but I get a really strong start, right? We do really good in our lane, we get a super strong start, I can start building aggressive items. Instead of just generic support items, I can start building aggressive items that can, you know, silence the enemy, which means they can't cast any, like, big spells or do big damage for 3 to 4 seconds. And that can make me a more versatile character, as well as it makes it more fun, because then I come in and they're not expecting it. You know, they're like, oh, here's the little support, let's kill her, and then I just have this, like, big arsenal of cool items at my disposal. So it's really fun to switch it up, which is what I like about Dota. There's no hard set rules. I mean, there's a couple, but characters can change positions sometimes. It's really fun. I really like that about it.
Yeah, more flexibility within roles and within characters.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. Gosh dang it. Flexibility, yes.
Hey, as the host, if nothing else, I'd like to think I'm okay with words. That's, I suppose, half my job.
Yeah.
But I guess, do you have a set group of friends that you play with that, even if it's not on stream, do you usually get together with friends and play, or do you prefer to just do a solo and let yourself be paired with whoever?
Yeah, I have some friends that I like to play with off stream. Sometimes I like to just do solos, but the problem is Dota requires a lot of communication, and at my rank, for some reason, I specifically queue for English, just because that's my main language.
Yeah.
And there's no, I don't know why, but I always end up on teams that either speak only Tagalog or only Spanish. And they can't communicate with me. Like, they don't know any
that's going to be a
English.
problem.
They're queued up for US East and West, and I queued up for English servers, and they're here on the English servers, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying to me. I mean, you could be insulting me, which is likely. You could be telling me that I'm not playing good, which is also likely. But it's just, you can't figure out what you want to do with your team.
Yeah.
They can't, you know, speak your language. So that's why I like to play with friends a lot. But usually on stream, what I'll do is I'll play and I turn on all the profanity filters, because you really need them.
Oh, and, yeah. Doesn't matter which game it is. Just, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Better safe than sorry there, especially on Twitch.
Dota's really nice in the fact that you can choose whether to mute either just voice communications from a person, or you can also mute their text communications as well, because Dota does have a ping system. So you can use like pings like, okay, pushing this lane now, or hey, I'm rotating back this way. They have a ping system, so there's a way to communicate without, you know, having to read messages from other people that are not nice. So I usually mute that if I'm on stream, just because it's like I can't trust other people. So
yeah, for sure. And just sort of as you're teaching me right now, teaching is something that you do a lot in your streams. That you during the art streams are going to be, you are always explaining. All right, this is, you know, how you use a particular tool. Or for Dota, when you had the stream the other day, you were explaining all this jargon and the basics for people who didn't know it. Is teaching something that you found that you enjoyed before you started streaming, or was it something that you sort of discovered along the way?
I'd say that I used to be a teacher's assistant for some of my Japanese classes, and that was honestly a really fun thing for me to do. And it was more of I started teaching out of the fact that I was worried people were going to be bored because they didn't understand what was going on, right? So it's like, I was thinking, you know, hey, I can just try and explain stuff. But then I realized it was kind of fun to do that, right? Because I didn't want people to feel left out of what I was doing. If I did something really big, and I'm like, oh, this is so big, oh my gosh. And then nobody understands why it's big. What's the point, right? You can't share that hype. So I want to teach people so they can also appreciate where my hype comes from, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That just, your teaching comes from the place of being an entertainer. I guess it just sort of stood out to me that you were particularly good at teaching, because I've seen other people sometimes try and explain these sorts of things to their chat, but you've always been, I feel, particularly capable at it.
well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's just, I don't know. I wing pretty much everything I do. I won't lie. That's this.
Hey, that's just how it works. I don't care if it's show business or streaming. Just, you know, do it live is a phrase that has come around, you know, with good reason.
True. I think what really makes that possible though is I'm not really afraid of messing something up. Like if it messes up, who cares? Who's gonna remember 5 minutes from now? Maybe you? Is anybody else gonna remember 5 minutes from now? The chances of that are super low, right? And it's like if you can get yourself past the point of, oh, people are gonna remember this, they're gonna make fun of me, what do they think of me now? If you can stop caring about what people think of your little mistakes, it's so much better. It's so much, because I used to worry about stuff like that, and now I just don't. I just don't care.
I had a opening monologue on one of my first shows, must have been like my second, third, or fourth show, and it was embrace the scuff, love the scuff. Scuff happens. It is inevitable. When it happens, you just need to roll with it. And goodness knows, it was either that week or the next week that I totally forgot to do an audio setting, so no one could hear my guests for the first 10 minutes, and I had to get help from a friend. And then it turned out that it was just because there was one stupid setting on Discord that I hadn't changed or had forgotten to put back. So it wasn't even that complex. So I am quite familiar with Scuff on my end, and honestly, I don't think there is a streamer out there that isn't familiar with Scuff, and that's really one of the things that just you have to learn, because going through it, like I said, you're going to hit road bumps, whether it be tech or an awkward moment or whatever, and you just have to push through.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. 100%.
So, but of all the things that you've gotten people hyped about recently, so actually, gosh, there's so many things I want to talk about. So you mentioned earlier teaching Japanese, and like I've been trying to teach myself Japanese, or rather, I taught myself the kana, so the hiragana and the katakana, and now I'm sort of at an impasse of where do I go from here? Because Japanese is a very complex language, and then kanji is its own monster. And I've dabbled around with, you know, a couple days of Duolingo, I did the trial for Rosetta Stone, and I'm trying to just source opinions from friends and other people who have learned Japanese of what is the best way to do it, and I'm not sure if maybe it's flashcards. I've heard there's some particularly good textbooks or, you know, workbooks that are good for it. Some are saying, you know, I should just get a proper tutor and, you know, over Zoom actually, you know, get a teacher. So Japanese is not your first language, correct?
No.
But you did live in Japan for a time.
Yeah, for about 3 months.
So, okay, so if it was only 3 months, then you couldn't have learned Japanese via pure immersion.
No, I learned it a long time before.
Okay, so how did you learn Japanese?
I took classes, but honestly, you could probably... I have a couple textbooks recommendations, actually, just because it's like, first thing, get used to hearing it. I think that would be step number one, is once you've learned all the kana, get used to hearing it used in, like, children's shows. So, like, you can even go on YouTube, look up, like, oh, Japanese children's shows good for listening to Japanese, right? And it's once you start hearing, I think that's the biggest part, because it's like, yeah, you can learn to write all of them, but do you know how they actually sound in spoken language, right? That's really important to know. That's like, I feel like that's the next step from once you've learned. Would you say you're at that point yet, or?
I would, yes. Okay. Not just from watching a lot of anime, but also I've done some professional work with people who speak primarily Japanese, and for whatever reason, I've always actually been very good at sounds and talking and accent impersonation, so I've been able to pick up most of the pronunciation, because you are right that there are certain things that are not necessarily pronounced as they are written. But I think that I have, I'm not going to say perfect, but a good baseline plus to work with.
Okay. Then I'd say the next step for someone at that level would be the Genki textbooks. I don't know if you've ever heard of
I
those,
have
but they're
heard of that one,
honestly-
yes. That
they
has
are
actually...
so good. Because the problem with Duolingo Japanese is it teaches you so much random stuff that's never going to be really useful for learning Japanese. I would say it's like that would be good after like 3 years. It's like, oh, you're picking up on new words, you're picking up on new stuff. Because it's like with things like Spanish, Duolingo makes sense because of how the language is structured. But in Japanese, it doesn't really make sense because the sentence structure and everything in the grammar is totally reversed, right? So you have to learn the new grammar system before you can like go into all of the words and stuff to learn. I think that would be the next step, and the Genki books do a really good job of just kind of like hand holding you through that grammar system and just teaching you kind of like, I guess the way I would explain it is, think of how Yoda would say a sentence, and that's how Japanese grammar works.
Oh, huh. I completely understand that analogy. That was a good one.
It's backwards. It's backwards from what we're used to. And I mean, I know the whole thing with Yoda is the reason he speaks backward is because that's the grammar style from when he was younger. So it's just a very outdated way of speaking. That's some Star Wars lore for you. He doesn't do that just to annoy Luke. It's actually like the way of speaking that he learned. But yeah, Japanese sentence structure is exactly the same as how Yoda talks. So it's very backwards from English, or maybe English is backwards from Japanese. I don't know how to explain it, but it does go opposite. But Genki textbooks do a really good job of teaching you that, along with a lot of basic verbs and how to say simple stuff. And then once you get to a way more advanced place, so you've gone through both of the Genki textbooks, there's another book called Shadowing.
Now that one I have not heard of.
Yeah, this one's a little harder to find, but it's really good because it's essentially a speaking practice book, right? The whole point of it is you're supposed to read out the passages that are in the book and listen to a CD. Yeah, you need a CD player for this, but you listen to the CD and you read the passages in the book, and you're supposed to pronounce it exactly like the person on the CD says it. So that way you can learn like the proper flow of a Japanese conversation, which words are higher in pitch, which parts of the sentence are lower in pitch, right?
Yeah.
So that's really like, if you want to learn how to be conversational and have your conversational Japanese not sound really foreign,
yeah,
then that would be my next recommendation after the Genki books. And there's also like something else by the Genki books. It's called kanji, like 500 something kanji. There's lots of different kanji books. You really just have to like practice them. There's no easy way to do kanji. Even Japanese people hate kanji, and I've been told that by a lot of my Japanese friends. So that's not me making that up. That's a true thing.
Japanese is the only language I know of with 3 alphabets.
True. At least the kanji you can write in kana, though. That's the good thing. It's hand holding. Chinese is just learn kanji or die.
Oh dear. Sigo Simthar suggests human Japanese. Is that one that you've heard of?
Nope, haven't heard of it, but I trust Sio.
Oh, Sio. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Sio.
Well, I will have to look into that one as well.
I think I say that right anyways. He hasn't corrected me yet, so I hope I'm saying it right.
Also, StarKiller12, thank you for the follow. Oh gosh, yeah, because for myself personally, I want to learn Japanese for business purposes because it is something that just I've been fortunate enough to do a little bit of work actually in the anime industry, specifically in events.
Nice.
And it's something that I hope to be able to, you know, once people are allowed to gather in large numbers again, get back into. And being able to speak Japanese is very significant in being able to take just, you know, greater leaps in that professional realm that fortunately most people who do these types of events are able to speak English, so I'm able to converse already. But if I'm able to actually, you know, really solidify even just a basic level of Japanese fluency, that it would be a great benefit to me. And it's something that I've been, you know, trying to get myself to stop dragging my feet on, that I was able to, like I said, teach myself the kana, so at least I have that. But now I'm at that sort of analysis paralysis of, okay, where do I actually go from here? Because I know knowing the kana doesn't do you anything unless you know how to use them. But
exactly. It's
I figured, all right, first things first. Yeah, but at the hey,
do you know any words now?
But hey, you do have to start with the ABCs before you do words, so at least I've got that first step. And Slime Guild, thank you for the follow. So you said that you spent 3 months in Japan. If you're comfortable saying, was it for a particular occasion, or was it just for pleasure and travel?
It was half of it was for fun, like the first bit was for fun, and then the rest of it was for a study abroad that got canceled due to COVID.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
It happens. I had a good time. So it was actually a good thing because I spent all of my money on like Pokemon cards and gacha machines. So I came home and I was like, wow, I spent all my spending money so early, but I was happy about that actually because I got sent home. So I wouldn't have had a chance to, buy 40 more Copic markers, which I like. I really like doing traditional art, and Copic markers. I don't know if you know about those.
I am familiar with them, yes, yeah.
They can be like $8 to $9 per marker, but in Japan they cost like $2.50 per marker. So I buy tons of them when I go over there, right? So I just buy I buy so many. I love them so much, but it's just I spent all my money on those pretty much right off the bat. Cause it's kind of hard to find a good art store that has them for sale. But when you do find that art store, it's like, oh wow, look at all these colors, and then I'm just weak. And also Pokemon cards.
Yeah, oh, trust me, we're gonna get there. Also, Methaphyditus. That's the other thing of just the constant challenge for streamers, pronouncing names. Methaphyditus, hopefully that's somewhere near correct. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a really good track record with getting people's names right. I don't know why. I think out of all of the streams that I've had, I think maybe 5 people have corrected me, and
oh wow,
way
that is
more
a good
have been
track
like,
record.
wow, Grape, you really pronounced my name right, and nobody ever does that. And I'm like, wow, I never do that right.
Hey, it's a gift. But I suppose.
How do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce it, Methaphyditus? Do I say it wrong? Too?
He said no one gets it right.
Yeah, because I always call him Methaphyditus.
Yeah, spell it phonetically for us, please.
Yeah, I want to know.
Now
I'm mad at you now because you haven't told me, and you've been in my streams for so long, and you didn't tell me that I was saying your name wrong. That's gonna make me sad.
Oh no, you made Grape sad. How could you?
No, I'm just kidding. But if you so decide to say it, I would like to say it better.
Yeah. But at the very least, you were able to, make it back from Japan and, get back home safe and sound. Because I know there were some people that just, when things got bad and travel got, just chopped off, that some people ended up having to actually stay longer abroad than they had initially intended, and that's even worse.
I left about 3 days before they closed flights.
Oof.
So I made it out right at the end. But...
Yeah. And hopefully, it feels like we've at least started to turn a corner of being able to actually get back to normalcy. We're still far from it, but, knock on wood, fingers crossed, hopefully the worst is behind us.
Yeah. What I'd like to do, though, is I would like to go to Japan, right, and somehow do, a stream of walking through some of my favorite places.
Yeah.
But also still broadcasting, as VTuber. I'd have to have a very interesting setup for that kind of thing. But I'd really like to do that. I think that would be super fun. I don't know if anyone would be interested in that kind of thing. But yeah.
I certainly know I would. And that's going to be something interesting to see of just, all right, once people are able to go outside again, just as you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, have I ever actually seen someone do a VTuber stream IRL walking around? And I can't think of one. Part of this is probably just due to the fact of, all right, you have to be running VTuber Studio or whatever program that you are running your model off of, and then doing that via your phone and then streaming is going to be a bit more complex. Plus, then you have all the other bells and whistles. But I do hope that we can actually get to that, because I think it'd be very cool. It then just sort of becomes the potentially awkward and hazardous issue of, all right, you need to make sure that you don't dox yourself in the process. But I would think that if you are abroad, that it would be a much safer proposition there.
Yeah. I think what I would probably end up doing is I'd do a recording of my day. I'd take a lot of videos throughout the day, and then at night I would kind of compile them all really quick, and then I would share that, and I would go live with that.
Okay, yeah.
okay, so it's E instead of I. Okay.
Methaphiditis. Methaphiditis.
Okay, gotcha. You're close to nice. Methaphiditis. Gotcha. Gotcha. I will not forget.
Yes.
I might forget.
So you mentioned that you got a lot of gachas. Before we get to Pokemon, what gachas do you enjoy?
I like the UFO catchers, but they're so expensive. But I also really just like them. I want a big Eevee plushie once.
Ooh, nice.
That was good. And I also got like an Azure Lane figure for one of my friends who was with me. That was also awesome.
Very nice.
I like the challenge. The problem is I like the challenge. I don't even care if the prize is bad. I just like the challenge of trying to figure out what angle the claw is at.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Just trying to figure out like, oh, okay, move it here, move it there, that kind of thing. It's bad. I literally just walk past a lot of those places because I know if I went in, I would probably spend like $5 or something, and then it's like, oh, I can't do that.
What have I done?
I can't do that.
Yeah, it's the game. It's not the prize.
It's literally the game. I think the game itself is fun, and if they had some kind of like practice arcade where it's like, oh, you pay $20 and you just practice that kind of thing, I think I would actually.
That would be a
like,
really interesting business idea of just like, so, a gacha dojo, where
pretty
so
much, yeah.
I like your idea of it's an hourly fee. You don't keep any of the prizes that you do, but for $20 you can practice and you can request, all right, you want the operator to put in, you know, a small, medium, large prize in some different sort of angle, and that you're able to then practice, all right,
yeah,
you know, based on whatever the most popular orientations of prizes are in UFO machines, that you're then able to actually practice for it. Huh.
I'd like that. I think that would be really fun.
Grape just thought of the next big business in, you know, nerd culture. There you go.
The problem is it would need to be in a place where there's a lot of crane machine businesses, and then they would not be happy about that.
Yeah, that's true. All the others would be like, hey, what are you doing?
It wouldn't be good. There'd be a lot of fights.
Yeah,
there'd be a lot of fights. So.
It's a fun concept, though.
Yeah.
But you've mentioned it several times, and I've been kind of avoiding it because I know that once we get on it, we're going to be on it for a good long time, but let's just go ahead and take the plunge with Pokemon. So, where is your start with Pokemon? Or when is your start?
Let's see. Oh, when I was tiny. I was very small. Basically, if I was breathing and had a working memory, I was into Pokemon, basically from the very start. But essentially, Pokemon is the reason I wanted to learn Japanese, right? Because it was like third grade, right? And I was really mad that the Pokemon games, because I started out, my first Pokemon game was Crystal, but I couldn't really read, but I still played it, I still liked it. And then my next one was Emerald, and I really loved Emerald. And then after that, it was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and then I was waiting for Diamond and Pearl to come out, right? And I was mad that the US had to wait 6 months after Japanese release to get the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? I'm learning Japanese because I don't trust the Pokemon company to ever publish it at the same time, right? So I started like learning Japanese, and I didn't really stick into it very long. But like once I got like high school time and such, there were actually classes for it. So I took that, and then all through college I took it as well, and that's when I did my study abroad, and then. It was just like, I just got into it at first because I was just mad at them because I liked it so much. And I was like, okay,
learning out of
spite.
Japanese.
But spite's a good motivator sometimes. But yeah, pretty much since the beginning. I've played every game except for, I didn't play any of the Conquests. I didn't play Pokemon Conquest.
Yeah, I
didn't
haven't
play
played
any
that
of the
one.
Pitfalls. I didn't play Snap. I didn't play the Coliseum or Gale of Darkness games, and I didn't play Sword and Shield. Those are the only ones I haven't touched, but everything else, yeah, I've played it.
Yeah, because I've played every generation. That the first one, I started Gen 1, all my friends had blue and red, and yellow had just come out before one of my birthdays, and my parents got me the special edition Pokemon Yellow Game Boy with yellow, so that was my first one. Silver was then the next, and for me, Silver holds a special place in my heart, and I don't know why. I think it's just, it was probably the game where I spent the most time, But also just, I love the setting of Johto. I love the music in there. I love that you had a bit more of a storyline in that one. And then just being able to revisit Kanto and sort of getting that second game in with it was a big one for me.
That was so nice.
Yeah. And then I didn't pick up Ruby and Sapphire, and it wasn't out of like, oh, I'm too old for Pokemon, but just I missed the memo, and by the time I found out about it, I was like, eh. But then Emerald came out, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick up Emerald and see if I still like Pokemon. And then about a day later, oh yeah, I still like Pokemon. I absolutely still like Pokemon. And then I think I've gotten every gen since, like, within a week or so of its release.
Nice.
I'm not the type that will even complete the Pokedex. A lot of it is just, I'll play through the main storyline, I'll become the champion, and then catch the legendaries, and that's usually where it ends for me. That I'm not the type that's gonna like EV train. I have a lot of friends who are super competitive, and I love watching competitive Pokemon. I just don't have the patience myself to do all that grinding and EV training.
It takes a lot of time, that's for sure. To do all that grinding.
Yeah.
It's
now, and then just of the side ones, like I played Troze, I didn't play Pinball, didn't play Conquest, I played Coliseum, but not Gale of Darkness. Played the original Snap, and I do want to pick up new Snap that I actually had to avoid a lot of different streams yesterday, because like when I watch, I'll usually have 2 to 3 on at a time, but it was just like, Pokemon Snap just definitely seems like one of those games that you have to experience it if you plan on playing it, so I didn't want to be spoiled, so I didn't tune into some of my friends' streams yesterday, but I'm going to have to get around to that one. So you mentioned you have an Eevee plush. Which is your favorite Eevee, and base Eevee is a valid answer here?
This is probably the hardest question you're going to ask me all day.
Oh.
I think it's Leafeon. I think it's specifically shiny Leafeon. I like that autumn leaf color.
Yeah,
I also love Glaceon. So I have a hard time deciding between Glaceon and Leafeon. But I think if I had to pick one, it would be Leafeon with shiny colors. That's my favorite.
And
I just really like that autumn color scheme with like the really pretty like burnt leaf color, and it's just like, oh, it's so cute.
You know, I never even realized, it never clicked with me that that's supposed to be an autumn leaf. That I was just thinking, oh, you know, it's shiny, it's different color, it's sort of reddish. I feel really silly now for not realizing, oh, that's just an autumn leaf. That's so cool.
Yeah, I really like that about the shiny design, because it's like some of the shiny designs are good, like the Pokemon that like they go from like a cool color to like black and gold, right? And it's just like, oh, they look so cool, like Rayquaza, Charizard. There's plenty of other ones that do that too, but like then you have the green ones.
Then you have Dragonite. Poor Dragonite. But what did Dragonite ever do to deserve that?
And then
well, actually, then again, we know what Dragonite and Garchomp, we know what they did to deserve that. I'm looking at you, Gen 2 Dragonite, and I'm looking at you, Gen 4 Garchomp. So that is them having to pay for their sins on the champions team.
Yeah, no, I would say it's them paying for their sins in the 2016 Pokemon Competitive League.
Oh, that too.
They were, oh my gosh, I didn't really keep up with Pokemon more outside of that year, but I watched a lot during that year just because I was really into it. And it's just like every single team, Garchomp. Gengar, Dragonite, all the same. Every team build, Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, everything was exactly the same. It was just, or that maybe that was like 2017, but it's just like there were maybe 15 Pokemon max in that competitive circuit, and it was just like,
yeah, because I'd heard that Garchomp was kind of wreaking havoc among things that I don't usually tune and keep up actively with the just year-round stuff, but I try and tune in for Worlds every year. The one Worlds that will always stick out for me, I think it was 2014. It was the one with Sejun Park and that just incredible Pachirisu.
Yeah, the Pachirisu. Oh my gosh,
Pachirisu
that was so
tanking
lucky.
a Draco Meteor.
That was so lucky. Oh my gosh.
For those of you in the chat, if you haven't seen this, so Pachirisu is this tiny, adorable electric squirrel. It is so unassuming. It is the last thing that you would expect to see, really, in a competitive thing based on its looks. And frankly, it was one of the last things that even the competitors expected. It was not prominent in this metagame, but the trainer in question here is a guy named Seijun Park, really liked Pachirisu and worked it into his team, and it became this really impactful support Pokemon. And it was just sort of the story of worlds of how far can Pachirisu go. And there was this really big moment in the finals where I think it was an enemy Garchomp. No, it might have been a Salamence. It might have been a Salamence.
I think it was a Mega Salamence.
Yeah.
It was Croissant Salamence.
Yes. Yeah, so this big, giant Razor Wing Dragon uses Draco Meteor, and Pachirisu tanks the hit, and then just for good measure, eats a Citrus Berry, which brings its health back up into the green, and the crowd goes flipping wild.
It's the last Pokemon I would have expected to see.
Oh, yeah.
But I was so happy in that moment. I was like, yes!
Yes.
Break the meta.
Everyone was rooting for that little squirrel.
Yes. That was a good one to watch.
Yeah. So, I told you when we spoke earlier this week, my favorite Pokemon is Metagross, and that's one that definitely has a really good shiny form. I think you told me your favorite, and I'm sorry, I'm not saying this just because I want you to answer it again for the show. I'm legitimately blanking. I'm sorry. Can you remind me?
Yeah, so I have two favorites. I will not pick one over the other. One is Charizard and one is Latias.
Now, do you have a favorite Charizard form?
Mega Charizard X.
Yeah.
I really don't care for the Gigantamax stuff. I thought it was kind of like a silly gimmick. I really like the Megas better because it's like, Gigantamax is just like, let's make, what if Pokemon but big, right?
It's scaled, like, whereas Megas introduced like a new type or changed their abilities. That there was, I like the that the designs were, I would say the designs were a bit cooler, but also just mechanically, they were more complex than the Gigantamaxes.
Oh wait, CEO, you're saying
CEO, uh-oh.
I love both of them. I love both of them. I'm just a sucker for active flames coming out of Charizard's mouth, okay? Like, that's why I say X.
Also, the black and blue just color combination looks so badass.
I think my favorite Charizard, though, like, out of all of them, personality-wise, is the Charizard from Pokken Tournament.
Ooh, okay, so tell me a bit about this, because I've played bits and pieces of Pokken Tournament, but I remember you saying on your streams that you were actually pretty good at it.
I used to play Pokken Tournament, honestly, like every day, but the problem is the servers are so bad that it would connect me to Brazil. I did not live close at all to Brazil, and it would put me against someone who's playing some laggy ranged character, and it was just like, ugh. So I couldn't really enjoy playing it that much online, but it's like, the Charizard in Pokken Tournament, he is so sassy. He is so, he stomps on the ground and he loses. He yells when he wins. He yells. Like, and it's just, he's such a fun character to play because he flies, right? He has this weird hover mechanic that makes him very interesting to fight against. And also, the most fun thing to me is he has a command throw, which means you can't really break it, right? And it's like a special input. Instead of normal grab input, it takes a special different input. And it's called Seismic Toss, so he'll pick you up and he'll spin you in a couple circles before throwing you on the ground, right?
The classic around the world Seismic Toss.
Yes. But people would quit. If I was trashing them, they would quit in the middle of the Seismic Toss animation because Charizard could take Seismic Toss and immediately combo it into Super, right? And the thing is, with Pokken Tournament, the Supers were all Mega forms, which made it really cool, right? So it would be Mega Charizard X in Pokken Tournament. It's so cool, it's so cool.
But so they would disconnect and so just cheat you out of the big moment. Ugh.
No, it was even funnier, because the thing is, it would stop mid-animation. So the wind effects of the Seismic Toss and the wheel of, like, wind were still spinning, but Charizard was stuck in place holding them. And I would always go into hysterics.
Oh, jeez. Like, so the disconnect, it's not even that it cuts off the animation and goes to a different screen, that
it just
pauses.
For a bit. It's like, it pauses for about 5 seconds before the game is like, the connection has been lost. And I'm like, it wasn't lost, they rage quit. And it's so funny because it's like, I love seeing them quit at that point. I'm like, yes, you can't beat me.
Yeah, I
give me the joy of seeing you quit in real time. Like, that's just, that's so funny.
It's like, it's frustrating that you don't get the big payoff animation, but at the same time, it is sort of that type of, yeah, you know you're done, chump. I gotcha.
Exactly. It's like, okay, just go ahead and quit. I don't care. Because the thing is, they get like a big disconnect penalty. And honestly, rather than a win, I'd rather losers, like people who quit actively, I'd rather them be penalized than me getting like a total win.
For sure, yeah.
The fact that they can't play for 20 minutes now, or like 10 minutes or something, is like, that's a bigger win than winning that match would have been, to me.
Yeah.
Because I like when
means you got to them.
Screw themselves over. Yeah. And yes, I said Pokken Tournament. I like Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, I hope they make a second one. That was a...
They did make a second one.
Oh, they did? Well,
yeah, Pokken Tournament DX for Switch.
Oh, I thought that was sort of a port. I didn't realize that was a proper sequel.
It was a port and a major upgrade. So they changed a lot of what was in the game. They changed, they didn't change the moves of existing characters too much, but they added a ton of new characters. They added like a big old practice training mode that actually taught you the frames of moves. So it was like a port, but it was also a successor. And I think the main issue that people in the fighting game community have with Pokken is the fact that it's rock, paper, scissors. It's like you get a knockdown, which means, you know, the character falls on the ground and you have that whole falling on the ground animation, right?
Yeah.
And there's no... that's it. It's reset. There's no wake up options. There's no get up options. There's no roll. There's no tech. There's like, it oversimplifies, and I feel like even if it had that little bit of more complexity, it would make it a lot more interesting, because you basically get no reward for knocking someone down. And usually a knockdown should be a pretty big game changer for the person who did it. But in Pokken, it's like, it's not really a big thing. And I feel like that's where it dies off competitively, is the fact that you just don't have enough options. It's too dumbed down. Like, the animations and the characters are glorious. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but like, just competitive wise, that's where it falls off.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's the type of thing of, it makes sense that the Pokemon Company would want that, because, you know, even if we're adults and we are still diehard Pokemon fans, we still have to accept that at the end of the day, Pokemon is going to be designed for younger audiences, and they're going to want those games to be more accessible to those younger audiences. So, like, maybe if they were to have, like, modes where you can still have that level of simplicity, so kids can, you know, get into the games and buy any Pokemon game that hits the shelves and not need to worry about it being too difficult, but that still would allow that toggle to enable a proper competitive scene.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Blue versus, I haven't played it, but I've heard from a lot of my friends, both in the fighting game community and just people who like the game. They do a really good job of balancing that, because either you can press a simple button to do a combo, or you can actually do the combo, but the thing is, doing the combo actually gives you more damage instead of just pressing like the easy press button.
The input actually has rewards.
Yeah, so it's like, if you do the input, which all competitive players are going to do, it gets the rewards. But if you're not that competitive, and let's say you just want to do like some cool things with your favorite character, you can't. You don't have to have that execution level. You don't have to have that craziness or anything. I feel like Pokken would benefit from a system like that, but also Pokemon Company is so shy of actually trying anything new that I don't think they would ever create something successful like that.
For sure. That honestly, the big thing that shocked me recently was the fact that they seem to be taking a bit of a step outside of their comfort zone with Legends.
I am so excited for Legends.
Like,
I'm like, finally, it's taken you how many years?
It's like, I'm forcing myself to be cautiously optimistic. I don't want to get too hyped, but holy heck, when I saw that trailer, I was like, is it happening? Pokemon Company, I love you. Please say it's actually happening.
Do you remember when Game Freak was like, hey guys, we're actually developing this separate game called like Little Town Hero or something like that?
Oh, that was a while back.
Yeah, you know, I went and read about it, right? Because I was like, well, maybe, you know, Game Freak can make other games, right? Turns out it is so... Like, I read reviews, because I don't trust game reviewers. I think it's usually full of people who don't actually know what they're talking about because they don't actually play the game. I went and watched reviews from people who actually like play games on the regular and not just, oh, Cuphead tutorial's too hard kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, they were just saying it's like the combat system is so boring after 3 fights because it repeats itself and it gets stuck in that loop and you just have to do the same thing every fight. And it's just, the game never really even sold that well because of that. Like Nintendo even just stopped talking about it.
Yeah, I was trying to just sort of rack my memory and be like, did it get canceled along the way, or did the project eventually become a different thing? Because I had heard of it. The name rings a bell, and I knew that I had seen it somewhere, but I honestly did not know that it ever actually got released. So that is unfortunate that it suffered that fate.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but honestly, Game Freak they had a bad history of not outsourcing, so that's where they mostly fell flat in a lot of their development. And I won't get too into this because then I'll actually get angry.
Yeah, but they're getting better about it because obviously they outsourced for Pokken Tournament. They're outsourcing for the Diamond and Pearl remakes.
They are, yeah, and I'm not quite sure about the art style choice for the Diamond Pearl remakes. Those little like chibis. It feels like I'm playing with like not the Lego sets, but the Lego sets that are designed for preschoolers, so they can eat them.
So I like the thing. What got me was they're actually keeping the proper character model ratio compared to the original. That just in Diamond and Pearl, if you actually look at the sprites, they're small and squished. That they kept the scaling relativity in the new game, and yeah, I can agree. I would probably have liked a, more normalized character design, because you have the normal character design once they're actually in battle, and you have that in Diamond and Pearl. That I would have liked that outside of it, but I'm able to get over that's not, the gameplay mechanics, but I can understand why some people are sort of rubbed the wrong way by it.
I really just hope they bring back Megas, honestly.
Yeah, that's going to be the really interesting thing.
Add some new Mega designs. Change up existing Megas. Change them up. Change up the design, because Mega Garchomp is competitively useless. It looks really cool, has worse stats than base Garchomp, which is really, really stupid.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Because that's going to present a very interesting conundrum for the competitive scene of just, okay, do you...
What's the gimmick?
Yeah. Do you take away the Megas and... Well, wait, no, so... I'm trying to remember, Megas weren't in Diamond and Pearl. Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
No, they're not.
No, they're not.
Megas
wait.
There are no Megas until X and Y. X and Y introduced Megas.
Okay.
And Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire continued them as an alternate universe.
That's right, that's right.
Sapphire.
Yeah.
So I would like it if they...
Okay, so the danger there is, given that precedent, that means that they would be more likely to have Gigantamax in Diamond and Pearl than to have Megas.
They could, but the thing with the Diamond and Pearl region is they don't have the stadiums. The whole design of Sword and Shield, they had those stadiums that change the energy.
Canonically, that in Galar there is that, I forget what the energy is called, but you are correct that it is actually canonically a regional attribute. So, that would be
I really
interesting.
think that they're going to go back to Megas because that was a very much community-loved design.
For sure, yeah.
For Pokemon, and the fact that a lot of Diamond Pearl generation Pokemon actually already have Mega forms. Like, if I remember right, Abomasnow has a Mega, doesn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. So there's a lot of Diamond Pearl designs already that are Megas. So I think it would just be really convenient for them to go back to that system. Plus, like competitive scene wise, pretty much I think it was a universally loved system. In Gigantamax, it just like, because of the 3-turn thing, I don't know. I just don't like it as much.
Yeah. I appreciate them trying something new. I wouldn't necessarily want them to just get stuck in the same pattern generation over generation.
Yeah.
But I do have my fingers crossed that they will sort of, hear the feedback and be like, okay, we don't regret what we tried, but we see that we have already done something that has been more successful. So let's go back and reiterate on that other concept.
It's like Kyo was saying in the chat about the Z moves. Those were not popular.
Yeah.
In the slide, they were a cute gimmick of the Alola region, but
they were nice the first time that you had to watch the animation, but then the 20th time you had to watch the animation, it was
I love
tedious.
My Pokemon's 3D model freezes in one spot and it does this automated animation that just looks so cool. It was just dumb. It was just dumb. I hated how it would like freeze frame their animation instead of having running animations, you know, like, oh, them running while doing it. It would literally freeze their model and just fling their model.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and the fact that the whole Z move thing would try and crash the 3DS. Did you notice how bad the frames would drop? If you
I never noticed that myself, but I can believe it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's just, if you had a totem Pokemon use a Z move, the frames just tanked on 3DS. So I'm kind of sad that the game was optimized that poorly to the point where they couldn't even add like a cool shader effect on an enemy Pokemon and have them attack without, you know, the frames just dying.
Yeah, no, I do remember frames starting to chug in a couple instances, not just with those, but like sometimes in the horde battles, because you're running so many models.
There too. But it's like, at least in Breath of the Wild, that limitation was to, you know, Korok Forest, where there's a million particle effects. Like, it's believable in Korok Forest that the system would have to chug, right? It's just like you go through there, you see how much is going on to create that.
And you don't really have combat or anything in the Korok Forest anyway, so it's...
But it's like, in Pokemon, you have like the core function of the game is to fight each other.
Yeah.
And that's where the game starts to chug in like a normal fight, and it's just like, how poorly optimized is this? You know what I mean? It's bad, but that doesn't mean I don't love the game.
For sure,
I critique it because I love the game and I want it to do well and I want it to keep getting better.
Yeah,
that's all.
Absolutely. When it comes to the anime, did you watch the anime at all? Do you have a favorite movie or anything like that?
I watched the movies, not all of them, but I don't really watch the anime that much. I know there's a lot of really hardcore fans of the anime, but I haven't super kept up with it ever.
And to be fair, I only watched through the first half of Advanced, which was Ruby Sapphire. That I watched through all of Kanto and Johto pretty much religiously, because that was, you know, way back when I was in the core demographic. So just those will always have a special place in my heart. My favorite movie of them all is 2000, the one with Lugia.
Yeah, that's a good one. If I had to say, it's probably the one with Latias in it, because it just makes me hurt.
Yeah.
I really
that was a fun one.
It makes me so sad. So sad. But I really liked it. I also like, I really like Destiny Deoxys as well. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's one of my favorites. I just like watching Deoxys and Rayquaza fight.
Yeah, that was a really intense one. It covered some really, you know, poignant themes. I think that's the first time that I really saw the issue of PTSD covered in a children's show.
With the main character being, like, one of the main protagonists being so afraid of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because of that bad experience.
Yeah. So, I guess now we've talked about the anime, we've talked about a lot of the different games. Now we come to the cards. Do you remember your first, be it pack or deck or single, do you remember the first cards you had?
I can't say I remember the first cards, but I do remember bringing my binder to school every day and trading Pokemon cards. And there was also a thing called 100 Day in kindergarten, and you had to bring 100 of your favorite
Oh, I remember this. I had 100 Day, yeah, because it was on the 100th day of class, because you were counting, and they were having it, and it was this big celebration, and you were supposed to bring in 100 of something.
I brought in 100 Pokemon cards, and I explained to that poor 5th grader why each and every one of them was so cool. Like, and I brought in 100 different cards, so it wasn't even the same.
That's so great.
I literally brought in 100 different cards, and she had to sit there for like 2 hours and listen to me tell her, oh, and this is War Turtle. He comes from Squirtle and evolves into Blastoise. Like, I was just going off, right? Like, and I actually have like one of those original Charizards. It's not like a shadowless.
Oh yeah, no, I still have one.
Or anything, but I have one of those Charizards.
Yeah, no, I remember I actually got the Charizard that I have now at a yard sale for $0.25.
Wow.
and this was not recent, that this was probably 2-3 years after release. I was still very much into Pokemon, and like I knew that there was a Charizard that was basically the same at my local game store for $35 at the time, which was pretty expensive. So I saw it already and was like, okay, this is a flippin' steal. This is great. And, well, it's worth even more now.
Of course it is, yeah. But that was like my #1 super cool card that I had was that Charizard.
Of course, yeah. No,
I had, like,
just...
it was like in the center of my binder, like surrounded by the other ones. Like...
Now, if you had a base set Charizard, even back in the day, you were a cool kid.
Yeah. Until people stopped liking Pokemon, and then I just kept liking Pokemon, because why not?
Yep, basically. So, have you been just very consistent in your enjoyment and collecting of Pokemon cards, or was there sort of a dip, a hiatus, and then you fell back into it?
There was a hiatus for a while, just because it's like I didn't collect the cards for a while, just because I felt bad asking. So, you know, like, hey, can you spend $3 on like a pack that's probably not gonna have something that good in it? You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad asking for that, but that's because I'm always like super careful about money. That's just maybe it's part of being a dragon, but I'm careful about what I spend my money on.
Pokemon cards is literally actually how my parents taught me the value of $1. That they bought me my first starter deck and first couple of booster packs, and then they were like, all right, from here on out, it's got to be your own money. You know, obviously they would get me stuff for birthday or holidays and stuff, but they wouldn't just, you know, buy me decks and packs because I asked for it. So that ended up becoming sort of the thing of saving, of, okay, do I want to save up and buy 5 booster packs or maybe get another deck or something like that? And it became the basis of my understanding of just, you know, saving and money.
Yeah. And so I stopped. I didn't really buy any packs in like the Diamond Pearl era. And then when Gen 5 came out, I went to Target and bought like 2 packs. And I was like, haha, packs of Pokemon cards. And then I pulled that Reshiram card with like the rose background on it, the full art. And I was like, oh no. I gotta start buying Pokemon cards again. And then I
feel like, then, so like it doesn't matter if it's Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or Magic the Gathering. I absolutely believe that new or returning player luck exists. I don't believe just pure dumb luck exists in a lot of things, but I subscribe to the fact that absolutely it's the new players that open the best stuff. I don't know how, but it's what happens.
I agree. That does happen.
And now I'm actually looking up, so it was the Reshiram Rose.
With like the rose, if you look at like the rose petal background, it's a really pretty full art card.
Oh, wow. No, I'm looking this up. Holy cow. Yeah, I might actually. One. Yeah. Ooh. So, actually, speaking of art, we have a couple pieces of yours that you've shared, and I realize I'm gonna actually have to change a few things, but let's go on over to this other screen here. I forgot. I still have the browser window up that we're going to be using for when we open the packs, but now I can bring up...
Did you just want to open the packs?
Well, no,
we're still on Pokemon cards?
No, I want to save that, tease that one out a little bit longer.
Okay.
So for starters, I have here the Grape pixel art one with you sitting atop just a large pile of gold.
Yes. It actually hides all the G Fuel that's underneath. It's only like a couple coins thick at any point. I'm not that rich. But yeah, that was my first time making pixel art. Honestly, and I was just like, yay, let's have fun making pixel art. So what I did is I sketched really big, and then I shrunk it down to a canvas size that would be a lot smaller. So like, I think I did this one at like 200 by 200. And I just shrunk that sketch down, and I just kind of winged it. And honestly, one of my inspirations to start doing pixel art was Kinda Neat. I don't know if you've ever seen any of their streams, but they do really, really cool like pixel art animations. And I was like, you know what? I like this guy's streams. I'm gonna make some pixel art for myself, right? I just thought it would be really fun, and it was. But I haven't made any pixel art since, and I wanted to animate it, but like I said, I do too many things, and I get really distracted by doing new things. So it just hasn't been a reality yet. But I'd like to animate it at some point.
Do you remember how long this one took? That I've not actually seen any of your pixel art streams. I've seen your 2D rigging and your sketching drawing ones, but never a pixel art stream, so I don't really know your process or how you approach it.
I think it only took about 3 or 4 hours, which isn't too long, I don't think. But I mean, really, it was mostly just like I sketched it, and then once I shrunk it down really small, I kind of blocked out the shapes with just base colors and put it all on different layers, so that way I could go back and edit it a little bit easier.
Mm.
And then I just started adding little details here and there until it was done, and I was like, oh, it's done. Cool.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! And that was when I decided, like, okay, that's good enough for me. You know, I added all the details and stuff. So
Yeah. So one second, I actually got the Reshiram Rose card image so we can show the chat what you're talking about, because it was just so cool. It was like, okay, we actually need to share this one. It's probably going to get imported at some utterly ridiculous size that is not appropriate, so give me a moment, chat, to adjust the visual. Oh, it actually isn't too awful and crazy, but, you know, let's get this over here.
yeah, that card. That's one of the coolest cards I have, actually. That's, well, besides all my Latiases and Charizards.
Let me put away the
them.
pixel one. Yeah, so now you can see it of just it really does have just all the petals. I'm going to maximize it a little bit here, but you have the roses in the background, and then just, you know, the stark white contrast of Reshiram itself against that, you know, dark red background looks really cool.
Yeah, I really like it. And it has a really pretty hollow dot effect on it, too.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh, I gotta buy Pokemon cards again.
So one of the other pieces, as I put away... Wait a minute, where'd the Reshiram one go? Dang it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Gonna put that one away. So this next one, you mentioned is actually based off of something that you saw while in Japan.
Yeah, so that's a picture of a restaurant called Hurin, which means wind chime in Japanese, Furan, Hurin. And it's in a small town outside of Tokyo called Kawagoe. And if you've ever been to any like historical towns here, like if you've gone to like, I don't know, let's just say like you've gone to Washington D.C. or you've gone to one of those places that kind of does like Civil War reenactments and stuff like that. It's just it's similar to that in that they have a lot of very traditional town keeps there, and they also have a lot of traditional structures, so everything's built out of wood still there, and they still have that like big old fire tower, because that's really important in Japanese towns back in the day. Is there's a big like bell tower in the middle of town to announce if there's a fire, because it's all made of wood, right? So it's just gonna go right and just burn down. So it's like it's based on a picture from that restaurant. I didn't take that picture, I just found it online, but I just drew myself on top of it because I remember that place very fondly.
Did you end up eating there?
Yes, I did end up eating there. It was really, really good. And it was really fancy. I sat on the second floor, and it was one of those places you had to take your shoes off at the door, kind of fancy. And you sat on little pillows instead of chairs. And the whole establishment was all tatami. So it was all bamboo mats, which was really, really fancy and really nice. So
do you remember what
I
you
really
got?
liked it. I had a sushi bowl. So I had all sorts of fish, all different sorts, except for eel. I'm allergic to eel, sadly. But it was salmon and yellowtail and squid and all sorts of good stuff.
Ooh, that sounds really good. I'm a big fan of sushi myself. I actually just bought myself some octopus and salmon earlier today, which I'll probably be having for dinner.
Yeah, I'm defrosting salmon right now, actually.
Nice.
I'm gonna make myself a nice salmon donburi bowl later with maybe like I got some chives and I have some garlic, and I'll probably make like a little garlic chive sauce, and then I'll put that over top of the rice.
Oh no, I'm getting hungry.
I'm hungry too.
So in this picture, you're actually wearing a kimono. So is this just one that you made up the design for to match your color scheme, or do you actually own a kimono that is similar to this one?
I don't actually own a kimono, but if I did, I'd probably pick something similar to the one I drew. I mean, I really like it. I changed the yellow color up a bit because it appears a little bit too saturated, but I was just trying to get that gold shiny effect with the lights, you know?
Yeah. Looks really nice, and I like how just, you know, you're sort of looking up and on, just like, ah.
Yeah. It's like if I don't know if you've ever been able to be in a place where you can just hear the Japanese wind chimes. It's really relaxing, honestly.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I haven't been to a place where it's, you know, particular Japanese style wind chimes, but I've been to some places where there's a lot of wind chimes about, and yeah, it's just a very unique set of sounds.
Yeah.
So
it's nice and peaceful.
The last piece that you sent to me is this one of you in your dragon form.
Yeah, so that's actually, I do have a dragon form. I'm planning to eventually draw it out and rig it similar to, I don't know if you've ever seen any of Zentreya's streams.
Yes.
But how she has that little gecko.
Yes.
I want to make the small one like the gecko form and just have it like fully animated just for fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of VTubers that are making, you know, chibi models nowadays, and that is your chibi version.
Yeah, that would be my chibi version. But the big one, I'd say, is about the same size as Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. My dragon size doesn't really get that big, but I do keep the scarf because why not? But I'm planning to add design-wise, I'm planning to add more color gradient changes within the dragon form, as well as some of my bags and such will be attached to my back leg.
Oh, nice.
For like easy transport and travel kind of thing. But yeah, that's I'm really excited to do the little chibi model at some point, and it, like, if I go absolutely crazy, I'll do the full dragon form too, and I'll figure out how to do like non-humanoid shaped rigging.
Yeah, and I figure that's going to be something that people will be able to look forward to seeing on your stream of you just actually, you know, working on it in real time.
Yeah, that's always me. I'm working on it. Also, just 1 second, my cat is causing a lot of noise, and I feel like that might be interfering. So
sure
let me throw him somewhere.
This would not be the first time that a cat has caused mayhem on my show. So hi to everyone in chat. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself so far while Grape tends to her cat. Cats and dragons living together. What a world, what a world. So after this, actually this might as well be a good time to do the pack opening. So I will go on and get that set up. We're going to take away this and pull up that. I have for us the page that has the card list of the set that we're going to be opening. Oh, Grape, you back?
I'm back. Yep.
Welcome back. So I figured now might as well be a good time to do our pack opening.
Woo! I'm excited. I have 2 packs of battle styles. So I've already sort of opened, like I haven't totally opened them up yet, but like I just cut the tops off so that way it'd save us a little bit of time. But yeah. Packs of battle styles. Yeah, that's what you were opening, CO. So that was really cool, actually. CO actually opened packs at the same time that I did during my last stream, and he was also posting his polls in the Discord, which I honestly thought was super, super cool.
I forget,
like,
do you have
really
a dedicated channel in your Discord just for, you know, TCG polls?
No, I don't.
If not, that might be something to
like
add.
A gamer chat, and that's it. Yeah, I might add that, actually, just like images. Only images to show off like polls and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Do that. So, all right. Are you ready to start out on the first pack?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So first item I got is Urn of Vitality.
Okay, so that's items. You're gonna have to scroll down. Whoop. Urn of Vitality. Here we go. Ta-da! Well, that's a neat one. Shown, well, as one would expect, an urn shuffle up to 2 single-strike energy cards from your discard pile into your deck.
It looks like one of those rock lamps that they try to sell you at, like, the fancy grocery stores.
Oh, yep,
like
yeah.
The rock salt lamps. That's what it looks like to me. All right, and then next, we got this Pupa!
Pupa, what type is it? Would that be grass?
Pupa's grass type, yeah.
All right, yeah, because sometimes they'll have them in different ones.
Honestly, my chaser card for this set would be Full Art Phoebe or the Victini.
Ooh.
I like Victini because its cry is like that's what it sounds like, and it's so cute.
Pupa, where is it?
Spupa, there it is.
Oh, Spupa, there we go. Yeah.
Spupa.
There you go. Cozy little bug.
There's Spupa. Get bug.
Grass cocooning, bug bite. Gosh, the one thing that is very apparent, and to be fair, it's apparent in all TCGs, it exists in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it exists in Pokemon, it exists in Magic the Gathering, power creep. Because holy cow, the idea of, you know, one energy, colorless, 40 healing, back from, base set, jungle, fossil, unheard of. And like
Yeah.
80 HP basic Pokemon, this would have been a rare back then.
True. That would have been a rare.
All right, what do we have next?
Next, we have Gliscor.
That would be steel, or would it be grass?
He is fighting.
Fighting, okay.
He's not actually fighting. He's
Sorry, Gliscor. I was thinking of Caesar for a moment there. I was like,
no,
wrong sore.
Yeah.
Yeah, 120 health, fighting type, acrobatics, flip 2 coins. It does 40 more for each heads with the base of 20, and then guillotine for 90. Guillotine is obviously better.
They'll just get a million coins like flipped properly.
Yeah. Now guillotine in the games is one of the one-hit KO moves.
It is, which means it has a really low accuracy. Acrobatics is also a move, and acrobatics it does more damage if the user of the move is not carrying an item.
Yeah. I remember that was a really good one on Archaeopteryx or something. It was one of the fossil ones that had the thing where if its health was below 50%, that its stats were slashed. But when it was
Archaeops,
Archaeops, thank you, yeah. That was close, almost had there.
You're close. That's the name of the actual dinosaurs.
Okay, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Next is Houndour. Oh, this is a really cute
would this be a dark one or is it fire?
It's dark.
Houndour. Oh, this is a nice little simple one, just a bite. But it's pulling along a little rock. It looks like it's struggling, but, trained to get big.
He's getting strong.
Yeah.
You're going to get big. And then next would be Scatterbug.
Scatterbug, back up to grass.
Back up to grass, yep.
Because it's the pre-evolved form of Spupa.
True facts.
Surprise attack, flip.
I really like them. They make their own clothes. That's pretty cool. I mean, no, that's really. I'm thinking of the other one. Never mind.
One of the really cool things about one of the really cool things about Pokemon sets is that they do not limit their artists to a particular style. That in Magic the Gathering, I've read articles about just set development and whatnot, and they will actually have an art Bible for each different plane in Magic the Gathering, that each world is supposed to have its own aesthetic. They want to have consistency of, if you're drawing dwarves or dragons or whatever in this plane, that they can vary from plane to plane, but if it's on the same world, that there's supposed to be the consistency of just the creative treatment that they do. Whereas for Pokemon, you have obviously the Pokemon themselves that are going to be consistent, but the style in which they're done, the backgrounds, the aesthetics are just completely up to whatever the heck the artist wants. It seems that there's a Zubat in this set that is literally a cross-stitch plushie.
Yeah,
I was glancing at this just a bit before we went live, and I saw that and I was like, I could literally just see that being a plushie. It's this one right here. And it's so cute. But anyways.
Oh, that is really cute. I like that. That's adorable.
So what do we have next?
Next would be Honedge. Steel type.
Steel type, I believe, is down here. Honedge, here we are, yeah.
I like that whole line. I'm glad they added Aegislash into Pokken Tournament, but I really haven't played since then. It's been a long time since I've played.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of the sword Pokemon.
Yeah. That was a really fun design, really powerful too.
Let's see. Up next we have Gligar. So pre-ev to Gliscor.
Yeah, so I'm guessing back into fighting. Yep, here we are. That's funny that you have two pre-evolved and evolutions in the same pack.
Yeah, it works sometimes. Or sometimes you'll get 3 of the same card. It really depends.
Looks like he's just flying over a nice grassy plain.
And after that we have Electabuzz.
Buzz, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
It has a really cool
That's
background.
Vire. Electabuzz is here.
It also has a very anime pose.
Oh yeah, I'm liking that art. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good art. I really like it.
I also remember from the anime, its cry was just...
I don't remember that.
In the anime, literally, its cry is...
Gosh, that's funny.
It is utterly ridiculous.
And then the holo for the pack is a Spoink.
Spoink would be... Oh, there you are. Spoink. Ooh, and that probably actually looks pretty nice in holo because you have the glittering snow and everything.
Sadly, it's a reverse holo, so it's not
oh,
like
yeah,
the background holo, but it's like the card is holo. And then last card is Aegislash.
Oh, hey.
I like him. He's cool. I really like this one because it's like a watercolor. Feels like a watercolor.
Oh yeah, that's really nice. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. Yeah. Has stance
I like the
change.
feeling of that card.
Once per turn, you may switch it with an Aegislash in your hand, any attached cards and whatnot. Oh, so there's gonna be then just different forms of Aegislash and that you can swap them out freely. I like that. That's a neat mechanic.
That is a neat mechanic.
Gigaton Bash. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from VMAX.
Oh, so it's basically it's using a tank. It's like being used as a tank ability, right? So you can switch out between other Aegislash and just not carry over the damage.
Yeah, and this one in particular is anti-VMAX tech. Oh, I just realized it. I just realized there's multiple Aegislash actually in this particular one, and I think I got lucky on which one I picked. That it, you have the one.
You did pick the right one, yes.
Okay, good, because I just minimized the other one. I was like, wait a minute, there's another one right next to it.
So the shield form makes sense that it has a tank ability from the VMAX attacks, but I like that the sword attack. It's like you keep the tank one out there, build up the energy, switch to the sword form, and then attack with it.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. I guess it's time for pack number 2, because I'm actually doing 2 packs.
Pack number 2, let's go!
1, 2, 3, 4 to the front, I think. Yeah, 4 to the front. Okay. I can count sometimes. Okay. So, let's see. First up, we got Carnivane. I like Carnivane.
Carnivane's going to be up in the grass.
Yep.
Carnivane.
He's got a cool art for this one.
Ooh, yeah. And this is a rapid strike style.
I really don't know much about the whole single strike, rapid strike thing.
I don't either. I just,
you?
I just noticed the little thing in the corner.
Okay. See, and then next up would be Sword, Word, and Shieldbert.
Oh, okay. So
Pokemon
this is going to be
always
in the...
has to have people. Yeah, it's going to be in the back. Pokemon always has people with terrible hairstyles. I've got to say that's a really nice, long-standing thing for
It's
the.
like it's
community.
Always either a really cool hairstyle or really awful. There's not really an in between.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Now these guys showed up in the post game of Sword and Shield since you didn't play it, and they were jerks.
Yeah.
These two were just...
Were they jerks?
They were just... You say you like to keep your stream PG, so I won't say it, but they were a-holes. They were not nice.
Well, good. I'm glad I got to just not see them.
It's like they have fancy, nice suits, but they are as absurd and unseemly as their hairstyles.
Bummer. They could have been cool. They could have made them dorky and cute, but instead they went the jerk route. Oh well.
That's what happens when you name your kids Swordward and Shieldbert.
Yeah, that's true. Next up is Bishark. I like Bishark. Bishark's actually one of my favorite Pokemon. Fun fact.
Bisharp.
Steel type.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I really like Bishark.
Yeah, I feel like someday we're going to get a third evolution where it's the king, because it's based on chess pieces.
It is based on chess pieces, but I mean, that'd be cool if he got a Mega. I know he's technically a Gen 5 Pokemon, but I'd love to see him get a Mega form.
That'd be interesting.
Because right now he's mostly he's a slow offensive Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So he has a high attack, but the problem is because he's steel type, basically everything in the game can kill him pretty easy, right? It's like every competitive Pokemon has it out for him with like a fire punch or something stupid like that, or even a flamethrower from a lot of Pokemon.
Yeah, and
so
it doesn't really have a. It's also, I forget, is it also part dark or is it pure steel? I think it's pure steel.
It is part dark.
It is dark?
Part dark.
Okay.
So it's a good counter to fairies,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just overall, I'd like to see it get a Mega, where similar to Venusaur having thick fat as its Mega ability, I'd like to see it get a Mega ability where it can tank fire attacks better.
Yeah. So how did my favorite Metagross do? Because it's obviously steel as well, but it has psychic, and it got a Mega. If memory serves, its Mega did very well. I don't think it had a ability that directly protected it, but I think it was just
super high special defense.
Oh, okay, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah. And it ended up being slower than regular Metagross. I think actually no, I think it ended up being a little faster, but the defense was higher too.
It is a literal tank.
Yep, a literal tank. So next up is Chimecho. I like Chimecho.
Ooh, that'll be in the psychics, I assume.
Yep.
Here we go. Oh, this one's adorable.
Isn't it cute?
And it has a little firework in the background. I love it.
Yeah, it makes me think of Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, and its first attack name, Minor Errand Running. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand, then shuffle. Just a happy little dude.
Yeah. Alright, so next up is Onyx.
Onyx would be fighting. Oh, wait, that's fire.
No,
wrong area.
Fighting, yeah.
No, I had scrolled up and had the wrong area. Where'd you go, Onyx?
He's taken sort of a nap.
I have it kind of small on my screen. I'm missing it. Where'd he go? Am I blind? It's in the fighting, right?
Yeah, it's in the fighting. Is he not listed?
Oh, there he is. There he is. Sorry. Nope, I missed him. I'm just blind.
Okay.
Yeah, taking a nap.
You're good. Sort of.
Rocky Tackle
like
also
him.
does 60 to itself. Onyx was always just... Its low special defense made it just too fragile. And the fact that, especially back in the day, when the special or physical nature of an attack was determined by the type, it meant that all the stuff it was weak to, it was just crippled to, because water and grass were special types, so anything that hit it, just, you had this giant thing that's supposed to be just, really tough and sturdy, and you just tore through it like wet paper.
Yeah. It's just too weak, Let's see. Next up, we have Sizzlipede.
Sizzlipede going to the grass. No, wait, Sizzlipede is fire.
Yeah, Sizzlipede is fire.
Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. There you are.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's like sort of CG or almost looks like clay. Yeah.
He's probably a little clay sculpture, if I had to guess.
Whoop. Didn't mean to minimize that yet. Come back here. There we go. Yeah, I've always loved the arts and crafts ones. Those are very fun. Yeah, I think this is just clay and someone took it out to their garden and took a photo. Yeah. This is...
I like it.
This is
like
done
those.
by...
Those are honestly some of my favorites.
Yuka Mori. I'm going to have to look up and see. That's really neat.
Yeah. I like that one. And then next up was Glameow.
Figure that's in the normal. Glameow. Ooh, I like the little city background. Oh.
Yeah, I like that too. I like the branch that it's sitting on too.
Cat stuck in a tree.
Yep, cat stuck in a tree as per usual. And then next up is Galarian Slowpoke enjoying some sunshine.
So you're going up to Psychics, I figure. Ah, here you are. Oh, and I think it's... No, it's just beside the water.
Mm-hmm. He's just chilling in the sunshine.
Having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Tantalizing. Flip a coin of heads, switch one of your bench Pokemon. Oh, your opponent's bench Pokemon, so it is acting as the bait.
Yeah, it's the bait. Let's see. And then next, the holo card is a Corphish.
Corphish.
I like Corphish. He's cool.
Ash had a cool Corphish in because that's Gen 3, so.
Mm-hmm. That is indeed Gen 3.
And the rare.
The rare is just Phalanx.
Ah.
Nothing good.
Phalanx is steel, I think.
Fighting.
No, fighting.
Yep, fighting.
Where are you? There you are. It is part steel in the game, though, right?
I don't know. I haven't played that game. I would assume so, though.
Have you seen the GIF of B just playing with a bunch of Phalanx?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's super adorable. So obviously
It's
Phalanx
okay.
come
I'll check
in
it
the groups of 6, and it's just
Mhm.
they're all sort of in a line to get hugged, and so like she'll hug one, place it down, and then they sort of get in just a looping circle, and it's them just sort of dancing
really
around.
cute.
It's very cute. I will send that to you later.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Yeah, that's it. That's it for my cards.
Yeah, if you want to see more openings, you're gonna have to tune into Grape streams, and then you'll actually be able to, because you do actually with the cameras and everything, so people are able to see the proper cards. That for this today, we just pulled up the card list, so there was able to give those visuals. But you do, a real proper opening on your channel.
Yeah, I have a big setup for it and everything.
Nice. What was the best stuff that you opened last time? Because I know that you posted on Twitter you had a really good haul.
Yeah, I did have a good haul. I'd say probably the best ones that I got were a shiny VMAX Lapras, a secret rare Urshifu Single Strike, the rainbow one, and I got a bunch of Dittos, and I think those are like the big boys. I also got like a VMAX Rillaboom. I like him too.
Nice. Do you have a favorite, either like set of Pokemon to use in battle or a battle style that you found that you use a lot, or do you not like, even if it's just when you're playing the games normally, it doesn't need to be in a competitive sense?
I only pick my favorite Pokemon, even for competitive stuff. It's just, I don't know. I like having a fast disabler, so I like having Weavile on the team and just using like Icy Wind and stuff like that. But the thing is, Weavile dies really fast. So
Yeah,
it's not
glass
always
cannon.
the best idea. So I like to just keep Weavile as kind of like the punch, like the ice punch, the night slash kind of thing. Just make Weavile, give her the focus sash, so that if she goes down to like 1 HP, she'll
Can at least survive one more, yeah. That I use
like
Weavile
that.
a fair bit myself, actually. One, just for a similar thing of being a good glass cannon, but also because Weavile can learn false swipes, which is very useful for catching Pokemon. So it's actually not a move that very many Pokemon can use, but Weavile is one of the more useful Pokemon outside of just it having false swipes that actually learns it. So that's how it ended up getting a pretty regular spot on my roster.
Yeah, I like Weavile a lot. It's a cool design too.
Yeah. Actually, one of my past guests, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, she goes by Snee. Her name comes from Sneasel.
I didn't know that. I don't really know Snee. I don't think I've ever seen them before, but I like that name coming from there. That's really cute.
Yeah, she is a cyber demon VTuber. Really cool. I'll link you her profile later.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We've got the art. We've got Pokemon. We've got, that was one of the other things that came up a little bit earlier that we touched upon, but food. I talked probably for a good 30-45 minutes, actually, with my guest last week, Raina, about food, but now it's your turn. So you already mentioned that you've got salmon thawing, that you're probably going to be putting together donburi for yourself. Is that one of your favorite things, or I guess, in general, what type of stuff do you enjoy eating? Do you have a favorite sort of flavor palette or anything like that?
I like Japanese and Vietnamese cooking the most, I'd say. Out of most things, because I can't really eat anything that's super greasy or super sweet, so that actually knocks out a lot of American-styled cooking, as well as like Chinese American adaptation foods that you get from a regular Chinese restaurant, because it's too greasy. It makes my stomach hurt really bad. So I like a lot of Japanese and Vietnamese cooking because it's very light on the oils. Yeah. So I can eat it, enjoy it without getting sick afterwards.
Do you enjoy curry at all?
I love Japanese curry. Indian curry is a bit too strong for me.
Very fair, yeah. That I like Japanese curry. I enjoy Thai curry quite a bit, but I've always been a weenie when it comes to spiciness. That I can handle, like, you know, medium level, but I can't handle medium Indian curry level. Yeah, those are different scales.
They are very different scales, yes. I'd say that would definitely be around my favorite food. I really like shrimp ramen. Kyoto style ramen is better. I won't take arguments on that. There's a difference between Kyoto ramen and Tokyo ramen. Kyoto ramen is made with a different base broth, and it ends up being a lot oilier and a lot fattier, but for some reason I was able to handle it. It's probably just because I was so excited to eat it. But Tokyo ramen is more of like a salt-based broth. Okay. And most ramen places use a salt-based broth. Like, they don't do anything even remotely close to Kyoto style ramen. So it's really, I haven't even found a good example of Kyoto style ramen in the States, but if you're in Kyoto, it makes a difference if you've had both of them. There's a very big taste difference. I'm
gonna have to look this up now, because I enjoy ramen myself. I've been to a lot of the ramen shops in the area where I live, and I've found one that I enjoy the most. But now, like, I was not aware of that particularity of Kyoto-style ramen being different from that sort of fundamental ingredient or balance there. So I'm gonna have to look up and see maybe there's one in my area, because fortunately there's a lot of restaurants where I live. So maybe I'll be able to track one down. You also
that'd be good. I don't have a lot of places near me that are like that, but...
You also mentioned that you like food anime a lot, so just Food Wars is a particular one, and also Restaurant to Another World, which I got to inform you is actually getting a second season soon.
Yeah, I'm so excited for that. But basically, I like watching food anime because sometimes I'm really bad about deciding what I want to eat, right? And I'm a very spontaneous dragon. So that means if I see something that looks good on the show, I'm just going to go to the store, buy the ingredients, and make it. Like, I'm going to figure out a way to make it. But I think the best dish I've had from Food Wars so far that I've made for myself is that mapo tofu I told you about. And it's really fun because you get the secret, like, they make it really spicy in the show. I don't make it that spicy, but you can still get those peppercorns. And the best technique to use those is you put hot oil, or you get the oil hot in the pan, and then you add the peppercorns to the oil, right? And you fry the peppercorns in the oil. And what that does is that takes the spice and the aroma out of the peppercorn and puts it in the oil. And then you cook your food with that. And so that flavor of the peppercorn actually stays throughout all of the food because you cooked it in that oil. Ooh. So that's actually one of my favorites to do. I've used that technique in other things. Like, even if I'm not using peppercorn, I'll put my spices in the oil first, let them fry a little bit, and then I'll put the meat in and stuff, and it adds a different flavor to the foods that I'm cooking.
I am not a very good chef myself. It's just one of those things I've not really invested the time into try and get good. I'm very much the type that I will get different ingredients and then mix them in a big bowl that just, all right, I get a lot of rice and then a vegetable, and then a protein, and then a sauce that I like, and mix it all up. And like, you know, I can cook chicken, I can cook beef. I'm basically competent around the kitchen, but I've never really tried to make more complex dishes. But watching Food Wars, it got me pretty close to it. But the other thing is just, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to put together a really, really good dish.
True. Wait, Rune, you want a cooking stream? I could probably do that. I could figure out a way to do that. I'd be interested in, because I like making scallops, right? And usually scallops scare a lot of people, because you've had scallops before, right?
Yeah.
I love scallops, and I think they're so delicious. But the thing is, it scares a lot of people because they're expensive, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, that's like $10 worth of scallops for 3 scallops, right? And it's just like, because I buy the really expensive scallops because a lot of scallops and a lot of fish have preservatives in them that makes them taste like metal to me. And it makes me really sad when I have to like try and eat one of those. It's just like, right? And so I have to buy like the really fresh scallops from like the really good seafood markets around me. And it's just, they're expensive, yes, but there's a way to cook them really well. And it only takes like 6 minutes max. And
Yeah, because seafood cooks very, very quickly.
Yeah, so you just have to be careful about how long you spend cooking it. But I prefer mine slightly undercooked. I don't know if that's a risk or not. I wouldn't recommend eating slightly undercooked food to anyone just because of, you know, the risk of getting sick and all. But, oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah, no, seafood is really among my favorite thing. Like I mentioned, you know, salmon and octopus earlier, but I grew up in Maryland, so I am a crab snob.
Oh, so you're an Old Bay snob.
Oh, yes, I am. I had a whole thing where I introduced my guest last week to Old Bay, so I see that I don't need to inform you about the wonders of Old Bay.
Nah, I like it. I'm not obsessed with it, though, because one of my best friends
fair.
that I get to eat with a lot is actually allergic to celery seeds, which is the
no.
main ingredient in Old Bay. So I don't really ever cook with it that often,
yeah.
just because my friend eats it. It's like, the only time that I've had that is like big crab outings.
Yeah.
Where like you go and you buy a whole bushel of crabs, right? And you just sit there and
nothing
you
like it.
Pick them open. Oh, they're so good. It's like you lick your fingers and they're like, I shouldn't have done that because now I'm like in pain.
Yes.
But they're good. They're good.
Yeah.
So I like Old Bay. I don't think it's the best sauce and spice.
Yeah, that's fair.
I guess you can make it into a sauce, but I'm just talking about like the powder.
Yeah.
It's like it's not my favorite in the world, but like just a little, like a hint of it can be really good, especially if you're steaming stuff.
Yes, yeah. That it's definitely a spice that needs to be used in moderation. I know that the stereotype is that Marylanders put it in everything in large quantities. No, the difference about Marylanders is that we are very good about knowing the right amount of Old Bay to put in everything, and sometimes that's, you know, just a pinch, sometimes it's a bit more, but I would be lying if I said that I didn't have 2 tins of Old Bay in my cupboard at basically all times.
Sometimes you just need a lot of your favorite spice.
Yep. Plus it just goes with a lot of things, but first and foremost, yeah, for crabs, for seafood, like crabs, you know, top tier, quickly followed by shrimp, and scallops actually with Old Bay it works really, really well. But yeah, if you have a friend who has allergies, obviously that is going to be the ultimate excuse. Don't kill yourself or your friend. Please do not do that.
Yeah, I'm not. It's like, I am, like I said earlier, I'm allergic to eel, and the problem is eel always smells so good.
Yeah, I like eel a lot.
I got like pins and needle feeling, and like very sharp feelings in my tongue and down my throat, and I'm like,
yikes.
I'm just not gonna do that again. So, I like it.
That's unfortunate. I've never heard of a particular like eel allergy. That I've heard of, you know, broader seafood allergies and things of that nature, but I've never heard of particular eels. Human bodies are weird, and I guess dragon bodies are just as weird.
Wonky. I don't know why. Probably too closely related.
Oh, I could see that of, you know, just some sort of ancient magic of, you know, eating.
Yeah, something silly like that.
Just, Yeah.
Let's see.
Dang it, now I'm getting hungry again.
I know, right? I'm getting like, I like all of, you'd probably expect this, I like all of my food very rare or medium rare. I don't like anything that's over like if it's beef, I like it rare. I like chicken's okay. I like pork, but it has to have a lot of like sauce on it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, but if it's beef or if it's fish, I prefer it rare because most places overcook it, and I really can't stand it.
Yes. Now, actually, I noticed just last night on one of your panels on your Twitch channel, I think it's for the donations, it says, "Give me steak."
Yeah, that was a goofy Valentine's Day card that I had made. Right? It was like from me to you or something like that, and it was just, I just made it because I thought it was funny. But I do, when I say give me steak, it's more of a, give me, like I usually get like a filet pho, because the issue I have with a lot of pho is that the meat that they put into it is super, super fatty, and I just don't eat it. Like, I don't like fatty meat at all, so I just refuse to eat it. So, like, why would I pay for meat in my pho that I'm not even gonna eat, right? So I always just, you know, I'm like, okay, if I'm treating myself to pho, I just get the filet pho.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, it's raw, right? Because I always just get takeout nowadays, and it's just so good because it's like, oh, I just put it into the hot broth, and it comes
Let it
out
cook
very
itself.
like, it comes out rare. It cooks itself barely. It comes out rare, and it's just so good. Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's the type of thing that just, growing up, I would usually get medium well or well done. That's just, you know, how my parents would order it for me when I was a kid. And then I discovered the wonders of rare. I usually don't get, you know, just rare. I usually go medium rare. But I completely agree of just, I don't want my chicken to be super dry. I don't want my steak to be, you know, just that sort of almost rubbery if it's done too much. I enjoy it being that softer and just juicier.
Yeah, I like that too. That's why I like Instapot. Instapot is good for holding in a lot of that moisture if you're trying to cook a lot of food and stuff. I recommend that because it's like with the risk of baking, if you don't coat whatever you're cooking in a little bit of oil first, it's gonna dry out.
Yeah.
But if you Instapot it, because then it's cooking it with moisture and pressure, then it's definitely gonna stay a lot juicier. So I like Instapots for that reason.
Yeah. And we've already covered, obviously, my favorite spice, but do you have a favorite sauce or spice for when you make your steaks?
I don't make steaks often, but if I do, I just like butter and garlic.
Okay, yeah, just simple standard. Gold
Very
standard
simple.
for a reason.
Salt, pepper, butter, garlic. I really love garlic. So like if a recipe says, oh, you know, add a little bit of garlic, I'm like, so 4 big scoops. Okay.
Yes.
You know, and just like half the pan is garlic at that point. I'm like, yes. Yes, garlic.
Yeah, just, it smells so good in the pan, even if it doesn't smell good on your breath.
Yeah. That's what toothbrushes are for.
Absolutely. Is there a restaurant that you've ever been to that, like, you know, sort of blew you away with a particularly good steak? Or actually, you know, just a meal in general. Do you have a favorite restaurant that you've been to?
I really like, I don't know if you've ever heard of these places, but Morimoto. It's a really fancy Japanese place. And it's not always Japanese, but it's Asian cooking in general. And there's a bunch of them across the country. But they're like only centered in like big cities. But I've only been to them a couple of times in a couple different places. But they're so good. They have like a really fancy. It's called he's an Iron Chef winner. He's won Iron Chef a couple times.
Yes, I'm familiar. Yeah, it's Masaharu Morimoto. I'm looking it up right now because I recognize that name. So this is his chain of restaurants.
Yeah, this is his chain of restaurants, and they're really, really good. Like, if I'm just talking, like, special occasion, top-of-the-line kind of stuff, like $36. But, basically, I almost never order steaks at restaurants, even at steak restaurants, because it's, like, I don't know, I've had a lot of bad experiences, unless I go to a place like a Brazilian steakhouse where they just keep bringing the meat, and I'm just like, oh, yes, bring me that rare.
It's been a while since I've been to a Brazilian steakhouse. Oh.
I don't really like normal steakhouses though, because it's like you could go to the store and cook a steak better than what they serve you, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I usually don't get steak, but it's like Brazilian steakhouses. I will eat all of the rare steak, and then like Morimoto's, they have a really good. He has a really specialty dish called Boribap, which is like a sort of Korean style thing, but it's like a sushi rice and fresh slices of yellowtail, except the bowl is so hot that basically they use the bowl to cook the yellowtail on one side and leave it raw on the other side. It's just thick enough so that way it does cook on one side and stays raw on the other. And it's this crazy flavor combination of like slightly seared yellowtail followed by like totally raw yellowtail on the other side. It's just,
yeah, I'm looking up pictures of it right now that if anyone in chat wants to look it up, it's just Google Morimoto Restaurant Buribop, B-U-R-I-B-O-P. And yeah, you're right. It's just, it's in this, can't quite tell what the bowl is made of, but yeah, it's just all piled and it looks like a cake on top of a bed of rice. There's something yellow in the middle. I can't tell if that's an egg or if that's...
it's an egg, yeah, it's a raw egg.
Wow. Oh.
I think it was raw. And I think they served raw eggs there. I can't really remember.
Because it's just the yolk.
Yeah. Yeah, then it is raw. If it's just the egg. I love, some of my favorite Japanese food is actually when you combine raw egg with stuff. I really like raw eggs too.
Yeah. That's really cool. I've never actually heard of something like that where it's, you know, half cooked, half not, but then it's also being cooked by the dish.
It was really interesting. I really liked the flavors. I scarfed it all down and gave myself a massive stomachache because it was so good.
Yeah.
I ate so fast.
Oh yeah.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it. Yes, that is truly the indication of when you found something that you've loved, of just when you can realize, oh gosh, I ate too much too fast, but I don't care.
Exactly. It was definitely one of those moments. So that's one of my favorites, I think.
Yeah, that's really cool. Wow.
I've also, if I'm just talking like straight street food though, if you go to Tokyo, there's a place that's a fish market, and it's really good. It's on the street, and they sell scallops for $5 each. Giant scallops. And scallop in Japanese, by the way, is hotate.
Say it again.
H-O-T-A-T-E. Hotate.
Hotate.
And it means like it's like a Hokkaido scallop, and it's really good. And they'll sell it to you for $5. They throw it on a griddle, they fill it with butter and soy sauce, they torch it with a blowtorch, and then they hand you the shell with the scallop that's been cooked in it. And it's so good.
That sounds
That's actually
really
the best
good.
scallop I've ever had. And I will never probably top that either. That was like that's the peak right there.
and there's something special about street food in general, of just
True.
you know, having it prepared there, and just it. I guess the one bad thing for you is that usually street food is going to be a bit greasy.
Yeah, some of it was and some of it wasn't, but just like a lot of stuff in the fish market wasn't, because it was like you could buy Wagyu beef, you could buy like crab on a stick, you could get a lot of really good stuff that wasn't super greasy, and I really liked it.
Yeah, gosh, goodness knows it. I've been meaning to make a trip to Japan, and I don't quite know when it's going to be now because of, well, gestures broadly to the world. But I certainly know whenever I inevitably visit, I'm going to be eating my way throughout the trip.
Yeah. For sure. That's what I did. That's good.
So, doing a slight pivot here, still in Japan, you mentioned to me that you are, like a good number of people in the Vtuber community, a big fan of Hololive, and that your personal favorite is, unsurprisingly perhaps, their dragon Vtuber, Coco.
Yes! I love Coco. So I don't, like I said earlier, I don't follow a ton of streams, but Hololive is the one that I watch the most frequently, just because of the really high production value, and also just, I like how genuine they feel.
Yeah,
when they're presenting and stuff. That really just, that makes me happy to watch it, because it's like there's a lot of genuine hype that they do. And Coco's 1 million subscriber presentation was hysterical. I don't know if you saw the Ultimate Coco Has a Farm.
Yes.
And it was just
oh my god.
It was so good. It was so good. I like how she's willing to just make jokes. She's not afraid. She's just like,
she is just
like
the.
One of my
they all have their own different personalities, and it's really good that Cover Corp allows them to have that, you know, just that freedom, quite frankly, of being able to be a bit wackier and unsay so, and not your stereotypical idol feel. And Coco has always just very much leaned into her own sense of humor, her absurdity, and her willingness to just push the boundaries and do the craziest things. And she's just super fun. And it's also really cool to think that, in a way, she is very much responsible for, at least, if the stories are to be believed, the growth of VTubers here in the West. That the story goes that she was one of the first people within Cover Corp to really lobby for the creation of Hololive EN. And
she was.
Obviously, VTubing was a thing before Hololive EN. English VTubers were a thing before Hololive EN. But I don't think it is outrageous to say that the advent of Hololive EN had a massive, massive impact and just catalyzation for the English VTuber scene.
Agree.
Zipperkin,
Totally
thank you for the follow.
That's why I like a lot of her streams, because it's like I speak enough Japanese to understand the majority of what she's explaining in her streams, but also the fact that she translates it to English is so smart.
Yeah.
It's just, I love that, because she knows that she has an international audience watching her, right? So and it's so funny to me that her English accent is very Texas. I can't explain why.
It's
like it comes out and it's just like,
it's more,
it just happens.
It feels almost Georgian.
Yeah, it's like a close
it's definitely a Southern accent for sure.
Yeah, I really like it. I just like listening to her. She's funny. She's really good at coming up with a lot of fun stuff for viewers to just enjoy her streams, and kind of an inspiration for me. Like not really, but like the hype level is always like
for sure.
I like that.
Oh, Square Glasses.
But she grew up in
Georgia. Because I knew that she grew up, at least for a significant part of her childhood, in the U.S. before she moved to Japan, but has spent, obviously, a very, very significant portion of her life in Japan, but that her English knowledge is natural, not learned.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, she speaks too fluently and easily with a lot of like meme things to be, I'd say she had to have, it's kind of like Pikami as well, where Pikami was in the States for a while before moving to Japan with her family.
Yeah.
And so her English pronunciation is just, I mean, yeah, it takes years to get that good if you're not trained
like
in it
truly immersed.
Yeah, but it's like the fact that the way she understands the memes, it's like, okay, she definitely had to live in the States for a while.
Oh yeah. Do you have a favorite meme, or like, a couple memes, and whether that be ones that she has shared, or even just, sort of Hololive culture memes?
I don't think I have a favorite, honestly. I don't really remember specifics a lot of the time. I just like
fair.
watching her streams. I like watching her meme reviews. Those are honestly really fun to watch.
Yeah. It's
never anything specific, though.
Yeah, totally understandable. There are a lot of them, to be fair. But I definitely agree that it's fun to see not only her just having fun and, getting the community engagement of saying, all right, everyone, hit me with your best memes, but then also dragging in someone else from Hololive and enjoying it with them and giving them that sort of meme education, but then also sort of taking some of the others out of their element. And fortunately, as you said, everyone who's made it to Hololive has an innate level of professionalism that they have already reached and attained. So they're all able to work with it. But even so, you can tell that that is not the usual content for many of Coco's guests, but that they're able to roll with it and that they're comfortable with going outside of their usual box.
Yeah, I think that's I enjoy the Japanese descriptions of the English memes. I think that's what really makes it funny for me.
Yeah, and you've said that there's actually usually even additional things that obviously when Coco translates, she's probably going to do an abbreviation, not necessarily a word-for-word translation, but that there's also things that if you are able to understand Japanese that are just added along the way.
Yeah, there's small things that make it funnier. Like, if you just understand the translation too, and it's just, it really adds into it for those little, like, oh my gosh, is she really saying this right now kind of thing. It cracks me up.
Now we just need to get Yago on one of those someday.
She had him on one of them as a joke. She had an entire soundboard of.
Oh yeah, no, because I know about the soundboard, but like we need to actually get Yago live on there. We need someday. Don't know when.
One day.
Has she had Achan on? I don't think so.
I don't know.
Because Achan might actually be possible. While Yago is the dream to have on the meme review, yeah. I understand, and I think most people understand that's not likely to happen. But Achan, I would say, is in the realm of possibility.
That's true. I could see that. I don't know much about Achan except for the fact that she's the manager and does a lot of that work.
Yeah, but she appears and has her own model and will be on streams every now and again. Yeah, gosh, and part of doing this show, and like I mentioned earlier, of having to really go out of my way to, see new streams and meet new streamers, it has meant that the amount of Hololive that I've watched has actually been significantly reduced. I still go in and, catch streams when I can, but it's usually now my new instinct when I want to see a stream is, all right, let's see, which past guests can I tune into? Or, all right, am I gonna, take an afternoon or evening and just sort of bounce around and try and find some new people to follow?
Yeah, that's gotta be an interesting thing for you too. It's just constantly looking through new accounts and seeing things. What would be the most? I guess you've been doing this for about like a couple months now. Right?
Yeah, I started in January. You are interview number 16, so this would be start of month 5.
Is there any trend that you've noticed between all of your hopping between streams that has changed over the past couple months?
I think across the board, VTubers are getting more comfortable and more just capable, and that's simply a cause of people having done this for longer. That I feel like the community in a more technical sense is becoming more professional. That obviously, I'm not going to say that in terms of personality, but I mean this in the best way. That people aren't, getting stiff professional, but that people are becoming more comfortable in their own virtual skin, so to speak.
That makes sense. I was just interested because it's like you have to look through so many people every day, and it's just, or not every day, but whenever you're doing your research, right? And it's just, I was wondering if there was anything like specific like that you had noticed, because it's like kind of the VTuber trend started blowing up, I'd say last September.
Yeah, because that was when Hololive EN.
Yeah, Hololive EN came out, and then everyone was like, "Oh, snap!" Right, and that's about when I saw Hololive EN for the first time, and I was like, "I'm gonna do this," right? I was like, "Why not? Why the heck not?" And so I just went off from there, and it's just, I definitely think it's one of those things that's gonna have a big wave. If not, I already feel like the wave is very much peaking. Like,
yeah,
we're at the point where being a VTuber isn't enough to draw people to your streams anymore. It's like, I remember, I don't know if you know the streamer, the One Manny. Years ago, he was like one of the first people to use like any kind of like face capture stuff, and he played his games as Doge, like one of those face tracking Doges, right?
Oh.
And he was like one of the first people to do it. He had like bajillions of people watching his streams because no one had ever seen
a Doge playing games before.
Yeah, and it's like his viewership is a lot less now because he's doing the same thing, but it's become way more common, I think.
Yeah.
But it's like that was years ago, but it's just like it's already at the peak. Like, you have to do something unique if you want to like get big per se. I'm not worried about those kind of things. I'm really just here to have fun, and if I'm not having fun, then I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know.
But I agree that
whose main goal is that?
Yeah, that as you said, it's in a wave, and I feel like the wave of new VTubers has definitely slowed. That the number of debuts is markedly less than it was 3 months ago. There were a couple of moderately high-profile graduations that happened in the past month or two. But at the same time, you have some people who have been VTubing with PNGs who are, like, just now, this month, actually getting their models done, and they're still coming in. So it's not like I would not use the term stagnant. That I would say that the VTubing scene is stabilizing after rapid growth. And that...
I honestly think it's just going to keep growing, though, because I don't know if you saw Iron Vertex's latest announcement, but...
I did not see their latest announcement. I know Iron Vertex.
They're taking a hiatus after their next wave
for
the rest of the year.
The rest of the year? Holy cow.
The rest of the year. So that means the demand for people who do rigging at a higher level is actually going to spike.
Yes. Yeah, supply and demand just got fundamentally changed.
Yeah, because they usually take the big projects, right?
Yeah.
And so they're not doing anything for the second half of 2021.
Oh.
They're doing nothing. They're not taking any rigs.
Hiya, Snee. We're still going for a bit. We actually mentioned you earlier because Grape here is a big fan of Pokemon and was mentioning her love for Weavile, so Sneasel naturally came up as well, so I mentioned you earlier.
Yeah, I love Sneasel and Weavile.
Yeah, Snee actually hosted a game show just yesterday with another VTuber, and all the questions were based on Pokemon, and some of them were really tough, actually.
Oh, I bet I can get those. I can get most of them.
Like,
yeah, I love Pokemon.
Yeah.
I actually have a crazy story about Sneasels. Since Snee is here, I guess I'll tell this one. So I haven't told you this yet, but for the longest time, I actually did a lot of competitive breeding and a lot of competitive training, right? And I would do the whole EVs, IVs, whatever. And then once I got like a very well-bred Pokemon, I'd start Masuda methoding it. So meaning just hatching eggs.
Yeah.
Hatching hundreds of eggs, right? And I was like, I'd like a shiny Sneasel.
Oh, Snee, thank you for the raid. Welcome to all the snippets coming in.
But anyway, so it's like I wanted this shiny Sneasel, right? So I started my search in X and Y. And I got about 1,000 eggs in. I had the shiny charm and everything.
Oh my gosh,
1,000
eggs.
Right? So I was like, okay. And then by the time that finished up, I went to Ruby Sapphire remakes, right? And then I took, I took the Sneasel into Ruby Sapphire. I started breeding it again, right? Another 1,000 eggs passes. Still no shiny, right? Finally, 5 years after the first date of me trying to get this freaking stupid shiny Sneasel, right? I find a 5-leaf clover. So I'm really good at finding 4-leaf clovers, but 5 leaves are even harder for me to find because I can find a pretty good number of 4 leaves in a year if I just look, right?
Yeah.
But it's like 5 leaves, I find maybe 1 or 2 per year kind of thing, right? And it's just, oh my gosh. I found a 5-leaf clover, sat down, pulled open my DS, hatched an egg, and it was shiny.
Oh my gosh. Meant to be.
2,500 eggs plus. I lost count.
Oh my gosh.
I befriend because Sneasel. But yeah, that's the longest shiny hunt I've ever done.
Oh,
5 years.
Gosh. So actually, I have only seen one natural shiny, and that was a blue Shuckle that I found in my Pokemon Silver game. So I have not seen a natural shiny, despite having played every generation, in almost 20 years.
Wow.
Now I don't do the thing with like shiny charm or shiny hunting, so I've never tried. But just, going through the game normally, I have not found another one just naturally since.
I've actually found a lot of shinies naturally. My first one was Zigzagoon in Emerald, and then my second one was actually right at the start of my Diamond Pearl playthrough, right as I got my first Pokeballs. I ran into the grass and it was a shiny Starly instantly. So I did my whole Diamond.
What? That's so cool.
With a shiny Staraptor, and I used it to flex on all of my friends.
That's great. Also, yeah, Snee, you did mention that one, that Snee had a Weavile that was from Coliseum that she's just traded up and up and up through all the games.
That's awesome. I have a living Pokedex between me and my friend, and we kind of do the same thing where we trade up a lot of old ones and just keep them in there.
Green Onyx. Green Onyx looks a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
We need Crystal Onyx. Do you remember that episode of the anime?
I never saw it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, it was just this beautiful, like, bright blue quartz Onyx. Yeah. Gosh, so wait a minute, what were we talking about beforehand? Before we got back to Pokemon? Because, Snee and the Snippets, you all missed, we actually did some Pokemon pack openings earlier. So, the VOD is going to be here on Twitch, but I'm also going to have this up on YouTube later this weekend, as always. So, definitely check that out, but also follow Grape because she was actually able to get her hands, or her claws, rather, on several boxes today, which you've been hunting for.
Yeah. I got pretty lucky. Today I just walked into Walmart and they had restocked all of their Shining Fates and Battle Styles. That usually doesn't happen. So I just. Oh, you need the account? It's on the page.
Yep.
Is that
At Grape
Grape
CHANN.
Grape CHANN already taken. So it's supposed to be CHANN like the Japanese ending, but it was already taken. So I just added an extra N because why not? But yeah, I managed to walk into Walmart and they had like Shining Fates boxes, they had Battle Styles boxes, and a bunch of other stuff. So I just got a couple of those, and I always leave a bunch because I'm worried about like kids coming in and not being able to get box Pokemon cards or something. So it makes me really sad if they can't, because I would be sad if I didn't find any. So yeah.
Also now I'm trying to realize, I don't know if I ever actually set up the shoutout thing. I don't think I did. Nope, I need to set up the shoutout bot sometime. I need to remember to do that. I went ahead and just typed in manually your account, but this is a good reminder. I never actually set up the shoutout bot. Crud.
I forget to do that too, honestly. It took months of people reminding me, hey Grape, you're supposed to set that up, weren't you? And I'm like, yeah, we'll do that later.
Also, here's my manually typed shoutout for Snee. If you are a fan of Grape, you will definitely be a fan of Snee as well, so do give her a follow if you have the chance.
I will. You're gonna hear some clicking noises from me.
Yes, yes. Quite alright.
Your follow get wrecked. I fell off! Okay, there we go. We got it.
Yay!
We got it.
Gosh, now I'm trying to backtrack. Where were we? Because we were talking food, restaurants, steak, Hololive. We were on Hololive.
Yeah, I think I had said pretty much everything I wanted to say about Hololive, though.
Yeah, and I guess you had asked me about any trends I had noticed, and I was mentioning that the number of debuts.
Then I talked about Iron Vertex.
Yeah, Iron Vertex. Yeah, so we're gonna see a increase in demand for the high-end models because they really have been sort of the brand name for the high-end models, and now that they are going to be taking a break, and I find it really surprising that they'll be effectively taking half a year off. That's a lot of time.
I think it's smart. They said they were going to be redoing their business model, which means they're probably going to be upping their prices again.
Probably.
But the thing is, they do so much corporate work as well.
Yeah.
That I think it's not an issue because corporations know that they can trust them for quality.
Yeah.
So it's like if they go on break for a bit, they're not going to be bothered, right?
Yeah.
But it's just.
But also, it means that just operationally. Yeah. Yeah, and that operationally they'll be able to handle larger loads better and hopefully, be able to take care of the people that work for them better. And because Iron Vertex, I haven't done, any significant research into their structure. I know who they are and what they do. They do very good work. But yeah, that's going to be that's what I was going to say is I didn't think that they were a particularly organized company, that it was just a group of people that work together under that unified banner. And for them to now, actually incorporate and hopefully, hopefully this means that the people that work for Iron Vertex are also going to see a pay raise, which is always good. But that means that inevitably there's going to have to be someone or multiple someones to step in and fill the void in the meantime.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy to see what happens, honestly. But
yeah, and then just for
people just wait.
Yeah. And for the VTuber community at large, my guess is, so like I said, we are not seeing the number of debuts like we did 2-3 months ago, but we're still seeing them. And I think that, as you said, the VTuber community, in terms of net growth, I think will just continue to grow. But my guess is that probably in about 3 months' time, my guess is that start of like late Q3, early Q4, we're probably going to see what will feel like a big wave of graduations. And it's not going to actually be as big a wave as it feels like. But because this community has simply never, been through a proper wave of graduation just because the community itself is so young, it's going to be jarring. And it's just going to be inevitably that some number of people are going to realize, all right, that doing VTubing long-term just isn't for them. That I don't think it's going to occur because of some drama or because, like, something went wrong, or even necessarily... I'm sure that a non-zero amount would be because of burnout, but I think that most of it is just going to be people realizing that, okay, they don't enjoy it as much as they used to, or they enjoy it less than they thought they would, and that they're just going to move on, and that's okay. That happens with streamers all the time. But I think that we're going to have what will feel like a bit of a scare in the community, because there's probably going to be a couple weeks or a month where there's going to be what feels like back-to-back-to-back-to-back graduations. But in actuality, even if it's 25 people, like 25 graduations, because the community is so connected, every graduation will be felt and be heard, that people tweet and share and talk. So people are going to find out about these graduations, and it's going to feel like, oh gosh, is something wrong? But then if you look at the statistics, you realize, oh, this is 25 people out of the how many thousands, and even despite 25 people graduating, in that same span of time, there were 75 debuts, minimum. So, I definitely want to warn people...
That's scary.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't have the right mindset to be looking at the community like that, because it's like, it's just like, well, you had your fun, thanks for doing stuff, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
To me, it's just people moving on.
Yeah.
But I don't...
That's how I see it, but I worry that just because graduations are big events, that they're send-offs, and they're generally positive things. But because it is something that this community has never really encountered before, just knowing how large groups of people tend to behave in these types of situations, I have this nagging fear of, I think there might be a bit of panic and overreaction to when this inevitable first wave comes. Because it is inevitable. Graduations will happen.
What kind of panic, though? Like, what kind of panic?
Panic,
I'm not really, like,
panic is the wrong word. Maybe panic's the wrong word. Of just, it might be, maybe the better phrase is simply just sort of, I don't want to say depression. Depression's not the right term either, but just sort of a bit of shock and sadness. Because naturally, that when someone who has touched a lot of other lives moves on, you're going to have that bittersweet send-off. Uneasiness, that's potentially a pretty good word, Tusney. And just, I get the feeling that since the community at large has never really encountered a proper wave of graduations, that it'll be jarring. Jarring, I actually think is a really good word for it.
Okay, now I think I get what you're saying, because before I was like, why are people going to freak out? Like, I couldn't figure out a reason for that.
Yeah, it's not going to be like sky is falling, but there'll probably be, just a lot of people who are sort of a little bit shell-shocked, a little bit jarred of, oh geez, a handful of people that I've followed for a while are stopping, and that's sad, and some of these might come back to back, and that can and it will understandably be sad for some people, and I hope that people are able to work through it in a healthy way if/when that happens.
I like what Snee's saying. What Snee's saying makes a lot of sense to me. It'll make people rethink. If they base their identities on the fact that they were really inspired by these other people and these other people quit, they'll be like, well, you know, so-and-so's quitting, maybe I should too. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not very easily influenced by the actions of others, so I guess it never even occurred to me that that would be a thing.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, someone else is not streaming? Cool, maybe people will come check out my stream. Like, maybe that's just a very simple way of thinking, but
yeah,
I mean,
and
for them to stay, it's
and
a good
my
thing.
guess is that, you know, those viewers will hopefully be able to go on and find different VTubers to be able to support. But I think it's going to be it's going to be that moment that we haven't had yet, and people are scared of the unknown. So, just want to sort of, you know, caution people for when this day comes, because it feels inevitable. And I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to handle it in a healthy way. But it's going to be sad. It's going to be sad to really see a first big wave of graduations. He says, I'm not influenced by any other VTubers either, so that's not my reason for when I'm gonna stop. It's just that I have different plans for the future. Ooh. Don't know what plans you might have, Snee, but I'm sure you will be doing just awesome and kicking butt at whatever you do. Snee also released a really, really cool single called Delete.
Nice.
I think it's still pinned to her profile, so yeah, if you check her out, it's a really good piece. But anyways, yeah, sorry to get kind of like serious for a minute there, but it was just sort of something that occurred to me. It was just like, you know, this is a moment that will probably come, a day that will come. But, you know, the VTubing community has been, honestly, no community's perfect. And when you get large numbers of people, statistically speaking, inevitably there will be people among those numbers that are jerks. But I feel like on the whole, the VTuber community is one of the healthier communities out here on the internet. Of just like, overall.
Pretty good. It can be pretty cliquey, but I'd say it's pretty good overall.
Yeah, and just people really do feel like they support each other, and that's been one of the really fun things for me in doing this show, of just being able to meet new people and, you know, get different perspectives, get different fandoms, and just get all the different personalities. Because obviously streaming has been a thing for a while, but even streaming itself is in relative infancy. That streaming has been around for 10 years. Twitch itself isn't 10 yet, I think. I think it's like 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's not a long time in the total span of things.
Yeah. So all of this is going very, very, very fast. But it's been, honestly, so much fun to see just the community grow, and a lot of that was why I wanted to start the show. I recognized I didn't want to be a VTuber, but I wanted to be able to give back to the community in some way, and I figured, okay, I like to think I'm good at talking, so maybe I can do something with that.
Nice. Yeah, you gotta market yourself around your skills, right?
Yeah. Gosh, so we've done food, we've done Hololive. By the way, did you see that Hololive English is actually going to be getting new outfits on
I did. I'm so excited
Monday, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that, actually.
Yeah. Talked Pokemon, we've talked streaming, we've talked games, we've talked Dota.
While you're going up that list, Snee, I totally agree with you. That's why I really haven't done any collabs, just because it's... I rarely do things with other streamers, because in the beginning you need to be your own streamer. And if you're always, like, I talked about this earlier, but if you're always doing stuff with other people, no one's going to know what you're there for, right? And you're not going to have an identity, and you're not going to have an ability to interact with chat either. That's something that really bothers me about a lot of collabs, is that if you want to provide good content for the people who are watching you, you need to have people watching you in the first place, right? I think that's like that's like a base. It's a base level of having that connection with your viewers, because they won't appreciate how you interact with other people if they don't appreciate you in the first place. And that's something like I really thought about for a while, because people ask me for collabs, and I'm like, first of all, I don't know you. Second of all, I don't feel like I've established a good enough relationship with, you know, the people who are coming to my streams who I appreciate so much. And it's like, I want to connect with them first before taking my attention away from them, if that makes any sense.
For sure. And goodness, I'm just glad that you said yes to me.
Yeah, no problem.
But goodness, we've actually been at this now for a bit over 2.5 hours. Oh my. And I know you do have some stuff later, so I don't want to keep you much longer, but Grape, honestly, this has been so much fun. Before you go, just a couple final questions.
Sure thing.
Do you have any particular goals for the rest of the year?
Have fun. Okay.
A noble goal, to be sure.
That sounds like a silly goal, but honestly, it's just to have fun. I will be getting like a sort of alternate outfit, and I will be rigging that eventually. I'd like to host a really big Smash Bros tournament. I think that'd be fun. That's one of my goals. I want to the greatest Smash Bros tournament. And let's see, I'd like to get better at Dota. I'd like to rank up in Dota. I don't really have any VTuber related goals. I'm just gonna keep having fun.
Hey, hey,
and
there's nothing wrong with that. And finally,
yeah, it's simple, but that's my goal.
Hey, if you're not having fun, then something's wrong. So, like, first and foremost, absolutely, make sure you're having fun. So the last big question is, Grape, what does being a VTuber mean to you? It is a big question, to be fair.
Well, I'm just worried my answer is going to sound stupid.
Hey, there's no wrong answer.
You're saying it's a big question, but I'm like, the answer is really simple.
Well, it's a big question. That doesn't necessarily mean the answer is big.
That's fair, that's fair. I like having fun, and I like when I can have other people have fun too. Like, I can share the hype that I have for a lot of stuff. And I mean, I'm just saying, a lot of people have come to me and told me like, hey Grape, you know, your streams make me feel really happy when I'm down. And I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Because it's like, I already play games all the time, right? So it's like, what if I can make other people happy by doing something that makes me happy, right? Now, I was just so excited about that idea. So that's what VTubing is to me. It's having fun doing something, but also being able to, you know, bring other people into what you're having fun with and make them have fun too. Like, that's really it for me. It's just like having fun.
That's awesome.
It's simple. It's like,
no, it's simple, but it's great. And having seen your streams, I can absolutely say that answer is true. That for you, having seen you and what you do and how you do it, that answer is unsurprising to me in the best of ways.
It's a simple answer, but that's kind of held true through everything that I've done.
Yeah, no, that just, you know yourself, and that's a really cool thing. And you know, even if you don't necessarily know what you're going to do every day, you know who you are and you know what brings you joy, or you at least know yourself enough to realize, okay, if something doesn't bring me joy, I know it's not going to bring me joy. And you're able to navigate just yourself, your content, and just everything you do with your own just delightfully infectious energy. And I'm so grateful that you shared that energy with us today. Do you have anything that you would like to plug or make sure that people know about before we head out?
My artist is Suni. Let me get her link really fast, because I like to plug my artist Suni.
Please, by all means.
Suni. So I didn't do my own art. I actually tried to do my own art twice for VTubing, and I did a fully separated model on both times, and I just didn't like how it came out. So I was like, I'm gonna commission somebody. And then Suni opened up commissions. I was like, oh snap, there's my money. But anyways, I love Suni so much. She's
the link got squashed. Sorry.
Oh, I got
no, spell it out for me.
I'll send it to you on Discord really fast.
Okay, yeah, and I will make sure that it gets into the description for the YouTube video as well.
Yeah. And I also have a YouTube account, so if you want to learn to do live 2D rigging, it's also just Grape CHANN with 2 N's. So I'll find the link for it really fast. Grape CHANN. But basically, I have 2 different live 2D tutorials on there, and they are about like if you want to learn to rig a blink with the moving eye effects in it, or if you want to learn how to add expressions to your character, like this or something like goofy like that. I have tutorials for that as well. Let me send the other link for the YouTube.
Alrighty, we have Suni's link in the chat, and here is Grape's YouTube channel. And all of this will be going in the description of the YouTube video that I'll be posting later as well, so no needs to worry there. If you are watching this on YouTube, the links are already there for you. Haha!
Hooray, nice and easy. But yeah, if you have any questions about live 2D rigging or literally anything I do, you can just ping me. Literally anywhere, like ping me on Twitter, ping me on Discord. I don't really care. Just message me. I am very open to being messaged about stuff. So no worries, no worries.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Grape. This has been really just such a delight. I've never actually done opening Pokemon packs before on stream, so that was super fun, even if we had to go, through the webpage. It was just, trip down memory lane for all the different Pokemon things, and this has been so great. For any of you who are new here, if you'd like, and if you enjoyed the show, please give me a follow here on Twitch and also on Twitter, because like I mentioned, some of my interviews are not on my channel, so if you follow here, you might miss them. For instance, tomorrow I'm actually doing a special report with Jusagi of the Jusagi Content Corporation. They actually did a really cool stream yesterday with Animal Crossing. I don't know if you saw this, Grape, but basically, Jusagi and Booster developed this special overlay that they used for an Animal Crossing stream, that at any time they could get the phone sound and have just the pop-up dialogue box and the image for any of the characters or villagers, and then type into something, and then in real time it would appear on the screen. So they were able to basically create dialogue in Animal Crossing and just have the characters interact with the streamer, and that the people, quote-unquote, calling would then also be responsive to stuff in the chat as well. So it's this whole new layer of interactivity of just, you almost have like a puppet master in addition to the actual streamer themselves, that it's that fine line between, like, not quite role play, but just extra just improv. And the fact that they were able to develop this tech was really cool. So I'm going to be talking with them about that, about how the idea came about and what possible future implementations this could go towards, because I get the feeling that what they've developed transcends simply more than Animal Crossing.
Yeah, probably. I could see that happening. That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, that is going to be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you'll be able to tune in for that. But other than that, goodness, it has been, like I said, another really fun stream. This has been episode 16 of Vtuber Talk, and I am nowhere near done yet. So thank you, Grape. Thank you to everyone in chat. This has been so much fun. I say it a lot, but it's true. I have so much fun doing these shows. I have so much fun talking with the guests, interacting with chat, and like I said, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you will tune in again next time. Have a great evening, everyone.